I don't expect them to be like tournament contender throughout the year based on this. I think they'll be dangerous. I think they'll be kind of what Virtus Pro back in their good years was, a team that no one really enjoys playing and is dangerous. But I don't think just based off this, they'll be a consistent contender for titles. I don't think this is like a hot take or anything. It's just they did get a lot of things going their way to win this tournament.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Counter-Strike fans across the globe, welcome back to another episode of HLTV Confirmed. Thank you to our proud sponsor, Stake, supporting the show. We're streamed to you live and direct into your living rooms, your devices, maybe your iPads if you're a boomer, on Kick exclusively, but you can catch it on Spotify or on YouTube later down the track. We are back for another episode. This is after the conclusion of Blast Bounty to start off 2026 and on the eve of IEM Krakow. We got Prof back. Prof, you're back.
Yes.
I am glad you're back because we wouldn't have had a third.
You always need to, not always, but it's good
recommended.
It's recommended to have a third.
Yep.
You know, someone lets down, someone can fill in the gaps, and that's me. I'm the filler of gaps. That's what everyone calls me that. Pretty much.
It's kind of your nickname around the forums I've seen. People just posting to see if you can fill some gaps for them. Do you have any recommendations? Like, do you like using grouts? Are you more of like a gap filler in a tube type guy? What are you thinking?
It's kind of whatever works in the given situation. Like every gap has its own needs, so you need to adapt to the situation. That's kind of where I'm going for. And also, I'm kind of the person that just like works with whatever's there. I feel like in cooking, for example, I just love to use what is available on the premises. Just put something together from some leftovers. That's kind of my approach.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, glad we covered gaps because there's going to be a whole lot of conversation about holes later. Maybe you can help us fill that hole as well. Striker, where are the cats?
One of them.
One is sleeping over there.
The other one is right, kind of behind me on the couch.
Now, I have a question because
sleeping.
The people while watching the show see the cats are quite active, right? They're jumping, they're hitting the mic. Now, this is the question. Are they more active while you're podcasting than normal?
No, not at all. It's more about the times that it happens because cats just have these like basically about 3 half-hour stretches in the day where they just go crazy. And usually it's at around 1 a.m., which is amazing. Then it's around 6 a.m., which is amazing. And then the third one is somewhere in the afternoon that I can't remember even because I just don't pay attention to that because it doesn't bother me in the afternoon. It bothers me at night. So yeah, that's how it goes with cats.
Does one of them attack the other one to get your attention for food?
No, not at all, because they have food available as cats aren't like dogs, you don't necessarily have to ration them, because they won't just eat everything that they have in front of them like dogs do. So you can just like have food out and they'll just eat whatever they need to. And they're not going to get like horribly obese usually. So you're totally fine.
Okay.
So they don't really need to get my attention for food or anything. They just fight because they're cats. Sometimes cats fight.
All right. So what have they broken anything in the apartment of value?
Nothing of value. No. Last time when I came back, it was from the award show, actually. One of them broke a big glass, and it might have been here for a while because I was gone for like 2 days, and they had everything, but yeah, they broke a glass. Fortunately, neither of them got hurt, so we're good.
All right. Well, we're up to date on gaps and cats. Lucas, is there anything that you'd like to share with the class to start today?
No.
Okay. Talkative as always. All right, gentlemen. Well, as mentioned, we're going to be debriefing about Blast Bounty. Obviously, we had the online portion. We did an episode with Ash between the online portion and the LAN portion. The LAN 8 teams, obviously PARIVISION winning. We'll get to that. Striker will have some explaining to do with the MVP for NiKo because everyone's back with their pitchforks. We thought that was done for another calendar year, but no. We're also going to be previewing IEM Krakow. Here's one I'm going to throw out there early with Krakow, and we'll dig more into it later. So we'll give a bit of a headline, and Striker, you can nod in approval, or you can go start fact checking to call me wrong once we get there.
All right.
But I believe Krakow is going to be the only event in 2026 that has top 24 teams by VRS Global.
Sounds about right.
Okay, so we're letting that sink in. He's going to go check now, everybody. So that's good. But before we get into all that good stuff, we are going to do the top comment, Prof. That's why we brought you back. It didn't feel right, me doing the top comment. I just felt out of place. I had to do it 2 weeks in a row, and I felt a bit out of place. And the top comment should be for our top G. So you're the man to do it.
Yeah, of course. Let me just open the stuff while.
Oh, so here you go. There, you're actually wrong. I think you're wrong at least. It might, I guess it depends on how it works out necessarily. I think it's, wait, how many is it? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 21 by global is EWC, but then the last 3 might be the 3 next best, you know, so it could be,
so
it could happen. It could happen.
I'm right until I'm wrong, everyone.
Okay,
I checked EWC on the plane. Anyway, we're doing top comment.
We can do top comment. I picked out a few. There haven't been that many comments yet. Also, I feel like we ramped up the schedule a bit this year, starting strong with the confirms. Lucas, come on.
Oh, Lucas, he wants you to bring up the comments.
There we go. I see. I mean, we gave you quite a bit of time to do this, so I was confused. Anyway, one of them is Ash, more like Cash in my map pool. Biscuit friendly man. People like Cash. It's not in the map pool yet. It's
not got 11 upvotes.
Only 11, yeah. Then another one was just a wet dream. Ash to revive Cloud9 and bring on the real Colossus with a team consisting of Kaze, World Edit, Advent, 23, and Magisk to win the 2027 Shanghai Major. I just liked it because it was so deranged. It didn't even make any sense.
Deranged. Yeah, exactly.
Didn't even make any. There isn't even a collective theme. It's not only bad players. It's not only good players. It's not only Asian players.
It's not just only male players.
It's everything. It's everything is there. So I really enjoyed that one. And finally, that was from Dan versus Games. And then the final comment and the winner, Boo King. Bringing coaches to confirm is a great way to understand how their minds work, and from there, evaluate the impact they have within a team and within a system. I vote for bringing more coaches to the podcast. Simple, nice,
coaches
positive comment.
Most people
coaches are really nice to talk to, even in interviews. Like when I used to do a lot of them, I used to kind of always target like IGLs and coaches, and then I realized maybe I should expand a little bit more. But it's always the best to talk to those two. So
okay, yeah.
Look, had fun without me with Ash.
Look, it was an episode where we ran out of things to talk about by the end because it was a pretty slow news week at the time. So we kind of needed Ash there because otherwise I think we would have been done in an hour and a half. But
also, neither of us watched the crazy amount of online bounty, so we didn't have that many thoughts. Ash had a lot of thoughts on that, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, that he said he was sick and he was watching a lot of the games. But just quickly, shout out to Bew King. You saw the email up on screen, so you need to send an email to that email, and then we'll get you a Vitality jersey and we'll ship it out to you. That's how that works. And again, if you are hoping to get your hands on a Vitality jersey and you're watching this right now and you're on YouTube, leave a comment. Maybe you'll be the most upvoted comment, and you could get yourself a Vitality jersey. Even if you don't want to wear it, maybe you might want to light it on fire. Maybe you want to take it to an event and rip it in front of Apex. Maybe you have a cat that needs a blanket and it could be great for that. I don't know. Right? There's lots of things you can do with a jersey. You don't just have to wear it or put it on the wall. All right. Do we need to do the stake thing?
I guess with the rest we are doing during what are the odds? So
yeah, you're right. We can. Okay, cool. All right. I was getting ahead of myself. All right. Let's jump into it. Let's get into some recent news. And a lot of this right now, everybody, we're just going to fly by because I don't imagine many of you care. or many of you watched. But FlyQuest got a win down in Beijing. They opted to skip Bounty, right? FlyQuest were invited to play Bounty, but I think because of the online portion, the value for them wasn't seen. So they decided to go down to an event in Beijing, China, and they were able to pick up the win. They played Zhizhihao in the final. I actually watched all of their games. Their first one was against Steel Helmet.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you mean seriously? What else am I gonna do?
I guess.
Oh, so you watched even the ones that weren't even on
times,
HLTV. Steel Helmet match is not on HLTV.
Well, it was. Well, I watched it. It is on HLTV.
It's Chinggis Warriors and Morningstar is the game.
Steel Helmet was they played in the play-in, which was online. It was like 6 or 7 days before the main tournament passed. So they played that online. They beat Steel Helmet. Just for people playing at home.
You watched the online game?
Yeah, I watched it. I don't know why I watched it because, bro, this team, they have a DD and Captain Mo, and like you think, okay, so at that point it already makes them a pretty old team, but they had XF stand in, who used to be like a 1.6 player, right? For those people who remember, they had XF stand in. He's fucking 37, and then they had AE, the guy that A is 27. The guy that XF was standing in for was like the youngest player. And then they had 18-year-old male, that's 18YM, who's now 31. So it was pretty funny.
Okay, that must have been like 30 plus.
Yeah.
Must be the oldest team ever.
Well, because DD's 31 and Captain Mo's got to be my age at 36. So yeah, they were definitely pushing the upper limits. So anyway, they were playing it. It was called like Zytec Elite Masters. They then went on played Chinggis Warriors, 2-0 them. They played Morningstar, which when I was reading a lot of the people's discourse around them, they're like the next string Chinese team after, say, obviously Tyloo, then Lin Vision, then Rare Atom, and then these guys, Morningstar, are the next guys. And there was this player in their team who was shooting pretty hard. I think it was Suki. Suki was shooting pretty hard. And then I watched the final against Zhizhihao, where map 1 went to overtime, probably shouldn't have gone to overtime, and then they just swept them on Anubis and Dust 2. It was played on the old patch. But the reason that I bring this up is because as far as the last week goes, there are like 3 big movers in terms of VRS. This put FlyQuest up to like 27, or at least when I checked.
Yeah,
Big,
number
who's the
30,
team we're going to talk to. Big, who we're going to talk about next, have also been making some moves because they played that Imperium Cup in, was it Portugal? And then they've gone and played this Swedish LAN. I can jump to them now. And they've also started to make a bit of a climb as far as the VRS is concerned. So, I wanted to bring up obviously the other one is PARIVISION, but we're going to get to that in the Blast Bounty
portion.
There's a
fourth one then.
Who'd I miss?
MIBR.
That's right. They won that. They just won that LAN over, was it Gaming Gladiators or was it Bounty Hunters?
Gaming Gladiators.
And they've had LNZ join the roster. Now he's taken the spot of Kick It.
Bro, this team, I know we're not really going to spend any time talking about them, but MIBR, you know how many maps they played this year already? In the last 12 days, you know how many maps they played?
They played a tournament where they beat Legacy not long ago well, didn't they? So what, they probably already played something like, if they played through lower brackets, they probably already played like 15 to 20 maps or something?
It's 35.
Oh,
Jesus.
So
they played this, the Rio Open qualifier, which probably had a couple of rounds before that we didn't cover, so it might be even more than that, to be honest. Then simultaneously, they played the LAN tournament that you're talking about, where they played... where they lost to Sharks in the grand final, which was another Bed Boom tournament just before that. That was like in another Brazilian city. It might have been São Paulo, I think. Then they went to another Brazilian city to play this other LAN that they ended up winning, Circuit X. And while they were playing that, they were playing CCT, and they had to forfeit the grand final because they couldn't make it work around the schedule. And they played 35 maps, 4 tournaments in 12 days. Imagine.
That's insane.
That is insane.
Insanity, some would say.
We just kind of overshadowed the big conversation there, but that was kind of the point. So I missed the MIBR one, but Strikers hit the nail on the head right there. So these teams, by attending smaller events, right, and getting wins, have been able to move up the VRS, which for those people playing at home is kind of fucking important for major qualification. Obviously, Big, they've been having a pretty dismal, I want to say, like last couple of years. I think that's probably fair. So for them,
fair.
With this Blame F move, he's leading. He's got crazy stats, Blame F. They're now 31. MIBR are 29 and FlyQuest are 27. So as far as invites go for these teams, it feels like they're going to continue to grind these type of events, right? Put themselves in a position where hopefully they have done enough to qualify for the major for their respective regions. And then they'll be like in the invite bubble for the events post April 6th cutoff, or at least some of them.
It's going to be a bit awkward because, like for Big, for example, they pretty much maxed out their LAN wins, you know, so at this point it's going to be much harder to keep climbing unless they go into something a little bit more interesting than this, you know, some of these local tournaments. So like same thing probably goes for MIBR, to be honest. I haven't looked into it. I just saw one of the classic, it was Jesper, I think, who tweeted about it, who's constantly on the VRS stuff.
He's been sending out some great tweets lately. There's lots to learn there for people.
Bro, if somebody's not paying attention like to this stuff and just want to have like the quickest, like most recent storylines about the VRS, just follow that guy. You're always going to get something interesting out of it. But yeah, same thing with MIBR, and I would imagine that it's not going to be that different. Well, FlyQuest, I guess they didn't get that much out of this one, so they probably still have quite a bit of space left to improve. But they also, I don't know how much they do play some of these open lands. So
yeah, I just wanted to quickly find his Twitter, but it's Udnud, isn't it?
Udnud. UDK.
Also, Twitter search is horrible, so you're not going to find it anyway.
Here he is, Jesper Lars.
It's a good look for Big, good look for Blame F. Horrible look for Fnatic, on the other hand, who bombed out of 2 things that they're playing online and look in a horrible position because they have no big invites coming. They missed out on playing some of the smaller stuff. I don't know if I think Jesper was also saying that it's kind of unlikely that they even make the major already, just based on like some of the initial results for Fnatic, which for me is just like a continuation of what the hell is this team even doing? Like the whole replacing Blame F with Madden. It's like, okay, you can say on surface, it's like, okay, we need a more aggressive player. But their last roster change was removing Cypher, who was an aggressive player. That happened like 2 months ago. So
yeah,
what are we talking about? What are we talking about? It just seems very, I don't know, very short-term thinking or just bad moves, right? If you're going back on what you just did, essentially.
Yeah, like when you look at other orgs that have kind of been picking themselves back up, NIP is one of them, right? And it feels like they've been making good moves, whereas Fnatic, I can't really say the same for them in a good stretch of time, right? So
I think it stopped with this one, right? I mean, like these last couple of moves is where they kind of lost the plot, it feels like.
I think people like questioned the Jacasma one at the time because it felt like Cypher was getting hard done by, but whether or not that was a good or bad roster. But this one here, in the way that you've just framed that profit, like it's like, oh, well, guess what? Your chickens have come home to roost. Like you made this choice and now so that one's a little bit miserable, but
on top of that, like whatever you want to say about Blame F, maybe he's not making all of his teammates play better, but he is a good player.
Yes.
He is a good individual player. He'll get frags. Frags win games, especially on a lower level. He has a certain quality that you can't, as a team where Fnatic or Big is, you cannot really ignore that. It's just like the money ball conversation. You just have to take the good with the bad and vice versa. You can't really get perfect players as a team of that caliber, and you need to get these rough players and use them to the best of your ability, right? Use their positives to your success. It doesn't seem like Fnatic were able to do that.
I just think like with this Blame F situation, right? Like whether or not he's the best fit for a lot of teams, right? It doesn't matter when he is delivering numbers like he is for a team like Big who need to climb, right? And Blame F will just brute force his way through a lot of teams that, are not really up to snuff. So yeah, anyway, the whole point of this, and maybe this is something we can do on a weekly basis up until like the April 6th cutoff, is we can do these check-ins and kind of see who the biggest movers and shakers are, because these are like outsider teams who are not in the bubble for the big invites right now, but they're playing a lot of games and they're making big moves. So yeah, we'll also just check back in with what Jesper's getting up to and posting and stuff too. But yeah, that was the focus of this right now. I think the thing that I understand what you're saying there, Striker, about, maybe not for Big, they might have to play some bigger tournaments or whatever. If we get that like mad dash of lands like the Draculans just before the cutoff, that's where there'll be higher ranked teams for them to try and like snag and take points off of. But it feels hard how they're going to get an opportunity to take a swing at a big name.
It's just kind of difficult because it's not going to be enough for them to get into any of these tournaments that are happening now because it's too late already. Because a bunch of these bunch of the invites have already gone out, and even for the February one, if you're like around the top 30, that's basically just outside of the cutoff for even some of the close qualifiers and stuff like that. So you're even not going to get that many opportunities there. So like by April, they might not even play a top event at all, because even if they do get into one of these open close qualifiers for like a Blast Open that has like one spot for Europe,
that's the biggest chance probably.
Yeah, probably, and that it's difficult enough to get past that, let alone do well at the actual tournament, So it's gonna be a struggle for them to get through regardless, just because they don't have anything good to play.
EPL is also already
decided.
It's all decided. Yeah. So
pretty rough. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
I was just going to go with the angle, and I was thinking about it more from a FlyQuest angle, is because for them they can be one of 5 spots for Asia. It's very unlikely that they take the Mongol spot, right? That's not going to happen. But maybe they can get a second spot or whatever. Either way, it feels like they should be, as long as they continue on this trajectory, able to just to get enough points to qualify for the major because of the way the distribution of the slots is, etc. And where
MIBR also, by the way, I mean they obviously have, what is it, 10 spots in Americas? Or is it less now? I can't remember.
17 Europe, 10 for the Americas, and 5 for Asia.
There you go. So, like, for them, it's obviously important for them to stay within that 10. And thanks to this run, they've made it all the way to like 7th, I think, in the Americas, and quite a good jump compared to the 10th. So obviously, this will put them in a pretty good position because the teams below them they will also not play anything good, So as long as they're dominant enough locally, that's going to be good enough for them. It's just if you're in Europe, the competition is obviously much harder.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the angle with those two teams, I guess, is if they do qualify for the major, which we're saying seems likely, then if they do get a big enough bump up, because you're going to have teams after that date who are going to decline events, like PGL Bucharest, for example, right? Teams are going to decline that. So if you're close, like if you're, let's say, like in the top 24, you could get a spot, or even top 30, depends on how many teams decline that event. You could get a spot at PGL Bucharest where you could really start, and if you have a good result there, you can start making a climb. But that's more for the next season. But the key there is you're getting to play events once you're already qualified for the major with house money, right? Because you already have your goal of the major, and now you're kind of just using everything as reps with lower pressure. Whereas if you were playing in big events right now and you had to win and you lost, like what Liquid is going to have happen here actually in Krakow. We'll get more to that later because they're not in Cluj. So that's going to be an interesting one with the Liquid conversation. But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. Should we get into this update stuff, I guess?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so for those people playing at home who may have missed it, I guess you're not playing at home then, are you? We knew Anubis was going to be coming into the map pool. It eventually was dropped with some minor updates. We'll jump into those. Well, minor, major, depends on how you want to frame them. We'll get into those in a moment. I've got a refrag IP. I'll jump in there and Lucas can follow me around. There was also some other stuff that came with the updates, like some skins. If you're into skins, great. There was some stuff to do with sound, something to do with like reducing the latency of sound or something, which just to me just sounds good.
Jesus Christ, the pun level is insane.
Well, that's the way she goes, mate. But that seems like a positive in itself. There was a movement thing that then hot fixed in the next day. Here we go. Lucas is flicking through. There's this one here that you can buy with, what is it, 150 stars for this one?
What the fuck are stars, bro? I don't even know how this works.
I'm also looking at this and I'm like,
I legit don't know how this works.
You buy this pass, right? And each pass is worth 40 stars, but you don't get the 40 stars. You have to earn the stars by playing. And then you can use the stars to buy things.
But then you need to buy 4 of these tickets.
Yeah, you need to buy the passes, which I don't know what they would be in euros because I buy them in AUD. Either way, that's not the key here. There's two weapon updates that I think are interesting, the MP7 and the MP5. Maybe the MP7 more interesting than the MP5. So for this event, I'm curious to see how much more MP7 is purchased. I ran around with it in Deathmatch. I think, did I read it was 6 shots to the body to kill with an MP7, I think. It feels like you can kind of run and gun with it. And, if CT doesn't have head armor, you're kind of shredding him. I should have asked. I was in the shuttle with Nerds earlier. I should have asked him what he thought about it. I fucking completely forgot. He loves a good old MP7. But yeah, that's curious. Are we going to see much MP7 usage at the event? That's guess more of an aside. Whereas the map change is the big one, right? So let me get this IP and we'll start working this out. Gentlemen, let's start with you, Prof. You saw the updates. You take much from them? What did you think?
Actually played a few games
on Anubis.
On Anubis.
Okay.
First impression is it's very weird, awkward angle to play at first because it just doesn't like you're kind of exposed, but you're not exposed.
That's in the bridge. That's the bridge one, right?
Yeah, when you're on CT and then looking through the gap that we were talking about. So it feels kind of weird, but then when you like get used to it, I think it is pretty strong. For the CTs, definitely better for the CTs than what they had before with the hold that was pretty much not accessible 80% of the time. This one is accessible like 50% of the time, I would say. During a round on CT, and especially early, you just get it kind of for free, right? You can disrupt a lot more, so allows for some new early round aggression for CTs, which I think is something that Anubis needed. So overall, seems like a good change from my point of view.
So I'm in the server now. I hope I don't have multiple monitors here, so I'm assuming Lucas is in. So this is the adjustment, right? This is probably the main one, the main structural one here. This new gap being presented and being moved away from here. I saw Austin was doing a lot of content about this on Twitter in terms of, you're able to nade over here. You could harass the players who are setting up outside of B. You're even able to wallbang through this. I think the biggest one in my mind initially is how does this change timings? So me and Rush were making some content for Krakow. The CT can get to here at about the time that the T's like peaking, right? So you I think the CT can get there slightly before, but that's assuming that you're not getting harassed by any nades, right? So if you're getting harassed by some form of utility, this is going to be very difficult. But then in terms of like when you're dropping out of the window, as they can kind of be crossing this point as you're dropping out of the window. So that's the main change with this. There's also like, it's quite easy to be able to disrupt it with utility. You can just throw a Molotov like this, right? That is going to land. It'll go off as the CT's getting here. So they'll take like 2 ticks, as they're going through. So they'll take a little bit of damage, but they can still drop in if they want to be aggressive with a T stairs smoke. I imagine and I watched some demos like Eyeballers did some aggressive stuff. Yeah.
I don't know what I watched, but I watched someone's video and they were pairing that the molly for audio only listeners. The molly is kind of coming out of T spawn
with the nade.
You molly the hole. Essentially, yeah. You then add a nade after that. It's just like slightly different, something like that. Yeah, so essentially as they're then running out, they'll take like 90 damage or so because it slows you down. The nade does a lot of damage, and then you get an extra tick on the molly. Depends obviously on the timings and everything. You need to have the right timings on the T side as well to do that. But it's just like it's another layer of early round activity possible.
It's an option.
I mean, for me, I was gonna say I'm not necessarily sure about the early rounds, but it's more about the late round because obviously, if you have a T here, it's kind of difficult to get him out in the previous version of the map late round, right? Like if they're setting up for a play, but then obviously he's not going to be as safe trying to lurk around here, and get in a good position, to maybe get a timing on the bomb side, right, and things like that.
Saying,
so I feel like it's more useful late or like mid round rather than early round, just because of how the timings work out.
There is like I agree with that sentiment, right? And I think it goes both ways because before, if you were the CT, right, and you had to drop out of the window, you're dropping out of the window and you're dropping like there was a shadow advantage already, and you're free falling into a T like sitting here holding this. It's like you're fucking dead, right? So at least now I understand it's still tough. I'm not saying this is easy, but at least you can get in a position where you feel like you might get a chance to fight, right? So I think that this chance here gives an option. And I saw people have already come up with like lineups for the silent drop. I don't know where the fuck they were aiming, but like the people already come up with.
You can silent drop it? Oh, yeah. The water, right?
Stick posted something.
So there's
I don't
like
know why you can do it. I don't think it's water related, to be honest.
No?
I think it's the same thing on Mirage. Like they're able to do it, and like Inferno second mid window, like you can
because the edge like above
when you hit or something. Yeah.
Okay.
But like I think also for the CTs to be able to rotate through here and feel a bit safer about things is also going to change that dynamic too. The T's being able to like boost up in mid rounds. Like I was talking to Hugo about this when we were on the plane. He's like, yeah, if you want to do like an A fake and then come back without having to go all the way around to get somebody middle, you can just boost someone up. It's going to seem a little bit clunky and cumbersome, but still an option. So yeah, this is the one that has the potential to change the gameplay the most. But if teams are doing what, I was throwing in terms of that util, or they're doing like double mid molly take, right? I haven't fucking done this in a while. You're doing like the window molly and you're doing a variation of this molly, then you could probably still sit here. Like if they're mollying this, you could probably still sit here behind it, but one good flash and you pushed off the line. And then if they're doing a rally of util with a temple smoke landing, then you're still in this no man's land like you were before. So that doesn't change too much in my mind. But yeah, I want to see how this plays out. The big one, this is my favorite one, boys. This one, I think it's a subtle change, but the movement of the box, I think, is probably my favorite change because it gives CTs options coming out of camera, right? Like now you have a bit more cover. That having to take that fight before all the time to this guy behind a pillar sucked. And then also making it so this angle is no longer as deep. You can still play it, right? You're still able to play it, but you're not as safe as you once were. So those two changes there, I like this. I think it plays for both CT and Ts. So yeah, I like this change the most. What are your thoughts on this, Striker? Giving you any thoughts?
No, I mean, it just gives you a little bit more option as a CT to play behind, right? And maybe an extra piece of utility that the Ts have to expend, right, to get him out of there. And it just like, attacking this bomb site's always been super easy because you basically just need 3 pieces of utility. You need like the 2 smokes plus a molly behind the site, and that's pretty much that gets you the entire control. And everything else is just about a couple of flashes to get the usual angles out of the way, right? So I think it just is nice to have like an extra option and something more to work with.
Yeah, I think I hope it's a subtle. I wasn't very like these changes. I was a little bit remiss, I'll be honest. I won't say I was expecting more. I think I was just hoping for more than this, because these changes feel quite small. And when you add a box on Dust 2 to Elevator so you could jump up, that's already a fundamentally sound map that's been played for fucking 20 years. Or Mirage has been in CSGO the entire time. So when they add a bench so you can jump on the window on your own, that's a small change, but does have gameplay implications. But this map here, they've gone for small changes. Like obviously this one's the biggest, right? You're going to see teams, and because you're going to see teams, they're going to use like one spawn, they're going to throw this. They're going to use the 2 best spawns. They're going to come fucking charging through. They're going to brave the util. They're going to drop down. They're going to fight this. You got a good timing to fight. You probably get a guy coming A main who's ready to pick off and help as well. You're going to have like a guy go B and probably block B main in some way. And then he's going to come down to con and he's going to fight. So now you've got like 3 guys water. And then you might have your last guy make sure you can't get flanked behind our middle, plan back around here, But the problem you have with this is, unless you're happy to siphon all of your smokes into blocking this constantly, right? Which maybe you are, you're going to run out of util eventually, and it will just be like it always was, right? Because it's not like CTs didn't go for aggressive water moves before. They just didn't do it through window too often. If they did, it was a huge risk. They'd mainly do it through con, right? And con, right? I don't even have to go anywhere near water, like to fucking throw this. Right, like I can do the one. Let's see if I remember the one from T. Like you throw that. Okay,
just flexing at this point is just like whatever, man.
It's I haven't played in a while, man. There used to be.
I haven't played in a while. And just like throws a T-spawn spoke into con.
That one.
Start of.
Oh fuck that one. No, I did. Oh, it's not right because of this fucking new hole.
They changed another hole, new hole.
Well,
that hole is also quite useful for the T side, I would say.
I guess, yeah. I didn't think it was that big of a deal because, like, what would happen
you can already get the molly in the cubby, right? So it's not a really big deal. When a lurk smoke
was already here, the Ts would take the staging area and they would like do multiple mollies back flat anyway. I don't know if the intention is to make it easier for CTs to be able to try and get back in and re-clear because the type of flash they had to do before was some like fucking
no one ever whatever
crazy
utility you try to throw into this would fail. It would always fail.
So maybe it's good, like, okay, you've got con control, but we leave like 2 nades with this guy here or whatever.
Like double nading it on a timing, could be pretty useful, for example, which is not going to happen because you have to get so exposed to do it from any sort of an angle, right? So it's I guess it's going to be helpful.
Yeah, so hopefully this just allows a little bit more like CT harass to a strong T position. So, maybe they won't just feel the need to constantly try and break and harass. They can give them the control. So it will change the util game here, which is already pretty util heavy.
It's interesting how they both of the big changes effectively, or both of these changes are so heavily focused on this area. And I wonder if it's just because of how hard it is for CTs to contest in any way here, right? Because usually if you see people contest, it's going to be typically through the extremities rather than mid, right? Or through con.
I mean, you also have to think about it from Valve's point of view. They certainly have data from like matchmaking and stuff that they're using, and they're looking into it and seeing where the action is or isn't. And it's probably for the casuals. You know, Chad, what you're describing is like, oh, you don't need to go here. You can throw the smoke and wait it out.
Yeah.
It's not always necessarily what they're looking into on why they're making a decision. But again, it doesn't really matter why they're making a decision for you, who is focused on like high quality play. Let's say that.
They did add this wood. That's really interesting, isn't it, Prof? Do you reckon they added that for the casuals?
I don't know why they added that. I don't know why they added that one exactly.
I saw somebody say it's fucking up a lot of the utility, no?
Some of it misses now. Like you used to stand behind this, and I think you'd aim here. Yeah. So I think we just said you'd just jump here and do that.
But what's the point? Is it just to
what about the nades from the other side, the CT nades? Can you still throw them to stairs from when you come out?
Adjust that. To here?
Yeah.
I don't know, probably. Blocked? I'd imagine.
I'm sure you can in some ways. Just such a
slightly I watched a video, a guy definitely did it on the new version.
Yeah. All right.
I don't really get that one, to be honest.
If you throw it better
there's no way they did it just because of a couple of need lineups, because the nerds are going to come up with new ones in like literally 30 minutes in less time.
Yeah, I mean, if they wanted to block it,
they'd block
the whole thing, right? So
but explain this to me, guys, right? So I'm on this box, right? You can self jump from here, which is cool. I think initially you could only crouch on this box. Now they've made it you can stand, but you can't boost. It's not intuitive at all, right?
No, that's not good.
There's no reason. They also do this with dice box on overpass.
But that is probably so you can't look over through that window.
Yeah, but why can't?
Could it be? Could that be why they added that thing?
But even if you could, right? Let's say I could boost on a teammate's head here and I could pick out here. Don't the CTs need options? Wouldn't that actually be like a pretty cool option on like, all right, we saved the hero gun and now we get
just
to
have PTSD for ball off pass.
But it's just like you can't do triple boost without moving a lot, right? So, just being able to boost a hero rifle up here to take a pick or something on a map that's already devoid of options for CTs.
Again, I think it's more about like casuals and that just being such an annoying position to deal with for any sort of matchmaking that they would rather not deal with it. But then, I guess that's the same reason.
But it's quite.
Could that be the same reason
just
why
put a ceiling or something. What it is, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Overall,
could that be why they put the blocking thing there? Like, is there anything you can see from there if you jump?
So you can actually do something where, hold up 1 second. If I go, sorry, I have a new keyboard I'm using right now. If I do this, and then I think I can get on his head, or maybe it's lower down. I can kick
bot.
Kick George.
What's his name?
You can kick bot all.
George.
I couldn't see it. I got my vibrance up too high. Thank you, though, Lucas.
Your vitamins?
My vibrance. Anyway, this shows you. I'm going to sit here and not know how to use the product. Kick bot.
It's okay. They're not a sponsor anymore.
Kick all.
Kick bot _all. I think is.
Yeah, but that's a console command. There's this like anyway, I saw a video where there was like a boost here and that you couldn't actually see, but you could like jump like to kind of get a little bit of a spot and then like spam through the wood. That was a bad demonstration. Anyway, we can get out of this.
And for all the only users, good luck.
Lucas, I'm closing CS. All right, there we go. So that's the update. So we're going to get to see, if anybody was watching, it played a couple times in the IEM Rio qualifier because they changed it literally like day of. And I haven't really seen, I watched a couple of other games because I was scrubbing through to see if anyone was doing aggressive CT moves and stuff on it. So it's been played a handful of times already, but we're going to get to see it played tier 1. Now, this brings us to our what are the odds, gentlemen?
What are the odds?
So I went back and I looked at last year. And I think last year we did a what are the odds train would be played X amount of times in Katowice. And I went and I took the data from Katowice and train was played a total of 6 times. So I've used that figure and I've +1 and I've come back and I've said, what are the odds presented by Stake? Anubis has played 7 or more times throughout IEM Krakow.
Okay. My first gut feeling is that this will happen. Okay, this is like play-in plus main plus playoffs, correct?
Yes.
Feels like a lot of games. Also, it didn't really change that much. Teams that played it before still pretty like most of the stuff that they did is going to be working. I'm trying to think about like which teams played it and didn't play it, but I don't think it really matters on 24 teams. I think it's enough teams that don't permaban it. So I'm going to say like 80%.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think like with the sheer amount of teams and the sheer amount of games, right? And the fact that Anubis has been played by most of these teams before, other than teams who have it as a perma and maybe still do, that the likelihood of seeing a lot more playtime on the map is high. And it also, some of these teams, but the other counterpoint to that is we've have a lot of teams with new rosters for 2026. So they can't just like pick up the fundamental base they had during the first 6 months of last year, right? A team like Astralis, for example, they have 2 new complete players who are not even Danish, right? So if they were to be playing it, it's going to be a whole new thing they have to piece together. So that's like one of the detracting factors to maybe why some teams might stay away from it. And there has been this pattern with Train and then Overpass where it feels like getting more of an uptick of playtime, or at least more competent degree of play on the map when you get closer to the major, right? So like obviously you have a whole season to play through. But I'll jump in here. I think 100% it's played 7 or more times.
I was also going to go high. So I was looking at how much it was played during Bounty, right? And it was played 5 times over the online plus LAN period. Problem with that is that's the old Anubis that everybody knows. So, yeah, as you said, like people can just pretty much understand how it's being played entirely. Are the changes that we've seen enough for teams to be like suddenly so wary of playing it? Maybe not. So I feel like it's still going to be pretty, like they're not going to be dodging it the same way that they did Train. That took a little bit of time for teams to even pick up or to even understand how to play it because it was so different compared to the last one, right? So I would imagine that it's going to be pretty high. I don't know about I would also my first thought was like 80% as well, and I think that's about right.
You know me, I like
also Aurora's in the play-in, so they need to play a lot of games.
They're going to play a lot of.
They're going to.
They didn't play it at all though during the online portion.
They're keeping it for LAN.
I don't think they played it. Well, they lost their game, didn't they? So
they played 2 games.
Okay, maybe they did play it. I didn't think they played it. I thought they were avoiding it.
They didn't play it, no.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, okay, never mind. I was gonna say they banned it first, but only Gamer Legion did. How to actually let it through?
All right. Well, this one's pretty heavy odds. I guess this wasn't too much of a meaty question. It was just kind of picking up on themes of last year when the map came in and trying to see. So, no way Anubis gets 7 plays. It's gonna be always either a decider or a permaban. That's 7 plays over all the series. So that's what we got to factor in. It is possible.
It's a lot of games to be. It's a lot of games to be played. To be honest, over.
There's also a 3rd place decider.
Playoffs.
You never know. It might pop up there too. There's an extra best of 3 this time around at Krakow. Okay. All right. So update overall. What do you guys reckon?
I think good. I know people are. Oh my god! Look at the deadlock updates. Brother, I'm getting rage baited. I'm getting one guide, not one guide, but like Twitter guide.
Yeah, we were.
It's good. Like
people are calling us the 2nd child now. We're the 3rd child all of a sudden.
I like Anubis, so I like it being back. To be honest, I think it's a decent change. Maybe maybe something more, as you said, but also changing too much is also not good because then you kind of lose the whole identity of the map. So I think it's fine.
That's also why, like, I worry when I see SMGs getting buffed. Because you're talking about identity of a map. I'm talking identity of the game. Like, we already got the fucking MP9 and Mac 10. I understand I'm being boomer. But, like, fuck, do we need more SMGs to be viable? I don't know. I guess they might just want to see more variety there. But, yeah, we'll wait and see if MP7 gets a decent uptick in use or not. That'll be... Because it also got a price decrease as well as a buff.
I'm sure it will because people have already been kind of spread out in terms of their SMG usage. Some people are still sticking with the MP9. Some go to like Some go to
some UMP I've seen.
some UMP every now and again. Yeah, so I feel like the UMP guys might just be swayed towards one of these other options, probably an MP7, not an MP5, I would imagine. But who knows? Maybe there's going to be some enjoyers. Hard to say, but I do think that it's going to make a big difference.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll wait and see. We get to see it play in 2 days, so we'll get to see what D's Nuts 52 thinks of everything once we get there. All right. Let's jump forward. Blast Bounty playoffs concluded. And the Visionaries triumphed in the grand final against Falcons. Now, bring everybody up to speed. Blast Bounty went down in Malta. The LAN portion was 8 teams. It was a single elimination best-of-3 bracket culminating in a best-of-5 final. It had big names in the sense of FURIA, Spirit, Vitality, and then Falcons with the stand-in factor. Nucleons was in for Kyusuke due to a visa problem. And then it had some more underdog teams like Heroic with a youngster playing in place of a Alcaran. We also had Game Elysian there with Snacks and the new coaching situation. They actually just announced they're having
permanent, yeah.
Yeah, and they have bring in Grasshog as well, who's that guy who I think does really good content on my Twitter reels.
True.
Yeah, I'm watching his stuff all the time. And yeah, who are the other teams? Liquid, who was on the plane with as well, and then of course PARIVISION ended up winning the event, right? So it felt like you had a pretty clear distinction of like the elite level teams and then everybody else, and who are we looking out for? Bracket shaped up to be because it was it's the lower seed teams, but it's the highest low seed team that picks first, right? I know that might seem like a lot for people listening, but it makes a lot of sense. The quarterfinal matches were Liquid Falcons, Heroic Furia, PARIVISION Spirit, Game Legion, Vitality. The semifinal matches were Vitality Falcons, and then PARIVISION Furia, and then the grand final was PARIVISION Falcons. Now, let's start with PARIVISION because they're the ones who lifted the trophy, and maybe we could even dissect some stuff with the interview. That I also want to say, really good interviews across the whole event, I thought. I really enjoyed the stuff that was coming out with the interviews. I thought there was some good questions and players giving good answers too, for the most part. So it was some nice reads, some nice Spotify listens. There was even a couple of video ones that you guys had coming out too. So
shout out to Harry one time.
Yeah,
at least he can do something well.
With some good stuff going on there. We'll get to the controversial MVP in a moment, but PARIVISION lifted the trophy. This is obviously the team that added Zwei. They had the good major run last year. Zwei comes in to take the position of AW. They've got Belchinok, the baby squirrel. They've got Nota. They've got Zelo. And obviously they've got Jame and Dust on the combo from the VP/Outsiders major winning team. Now, they played some class Counter-Strike here, but it feels like they were straight away like, they're just being realistic, or they're trying to downplay what happened so they don't like get too much of a big ego or something like that, right? I was reading something in the interview. Where is it?
The Jame one?
Yeah.
There it is. LanDaLan was top 2 after Rio. This one is like a regular CCT event.
What do you guys make of that headline, right? Because obviously you can take it at face value.
I'll just read the whole answer. So he says, congratulations, the first big event since Rio, I think. How does this feel? And funny enough, this is Harry asking questions in English, Jame answering in Russian, and then sending it over to Dimitri to translate. So like Harry doesn't even know what Jame is saying or what he got. He just heard like Kakata or CCT or something. And he's like, what the fuck is this about? Anyway, James says, to be honest, LanDaLan evoked incredible emotions at that moment. Probably because I'm tired, but that LAN actually was top 2 after Rio. This one is like a regular CCT event. I don't mean to show off, but that's how it feels in this very second.
Yeah,
James is a weirdo, I'm not gonna lie. That's such a weird answer.
Do you take that at like face value of the words, or are you taking something else out of that when you read that, Striker?
I don't know what to think about Jame as an emotional human being, or whatever, one that doesn't have emotions or whatever. I don't know how to look at that at all.
I mean, it's cool to win this tournament, but at the same time, if we're just looking from the value of winning LanDaLan, meaning qualifying for the major, and where they were at that time and how much qualifying for the major means, objectively, rationally, winning LanDaLan means more than winning Blast Bounty. Or PARIVISION in that moment.
Yeah, like that context is obviously is key, but I don't know. Like there's people in the chat talking about it now, whether or not it's a mistranslation or whatnot, right?
It's not a mistranslation. This is Russian translated by a Russian. Like there's no mistranslation here.
So the thing when I read that, for me, I start thinking, okay, so maybe in the fashion that it came, right? Like the way that the year starts and they just win this tournament. It's not that I don't think it's meant to be like detracting or taking a dig at like the teams that they beat or at Blast or anything like that. I don't think that's the implication of the statement. What I take from that is it's like he was just going through the motions of what they normally do as a team. Right? Okay. Like I don't know.
But they normally do. I mean, they've only just started playing with Way, so it's not like it's like of course it's going to be a similar system and all that stuff. It's not that big of a deal if you change one player, but it's your first proper tournament with your new player.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair point, but it's like I don't know. I think for me, and we spoke about this when we did our time capsule thing, Zwei going from Spirit, where he got really, really invaluable experience, right? He won big trophies there. He won Cologne there, right? He played a major, right? Like he's
a 2-time bounty champion now.
He got a lot of experience in a short period of time. And then he goes to a team where the expectation is so much lower and you're not playing next to Donk. And that's not meant to be like Donk makes Way play bad. It's just like the expectation of Donk is this guy's meant to win, right? So the pressure...
It's more like you're meant to play bad so that Donk plays good.
I look at that for Zwei, and there's the pressure is not the same. Like you're in PARIVISION, things are completely different, and he was able to deliver much more like this Zwei we saw in Namiga than the one that we saw in Spirit, right? So Zwei getting plugged into this, look, obviously that takes time to adapt. That's the excuse we use for a lot of teams, or that's the rationale we use for a lot of teams when they bring in a new roster and new players, that things aren't going to be working straight away. And also I think that's why, if I'm in the PARIVISION camp, I'm probably playing things down like pretty quickly. Like, yeah, this was a good result, but realistically speaking, this probably isn't going to happen again. Because you look at their matchups in Krakow, we'll get to that later. They're going up against teams that now, after they won the event, everyone go, oh, they should definitely beat like a Heroic, or they should beat Gamer Legion, or they should beat Aurora. But they could lose to all of those teams, right? They played some really great CS here. I really enjoyed the final. I loved it from a macro standpoint. I really liked the final from a macro standpoint. It was a fun game to watch.
It was kind of all of their games, to be honest, were very interesting in the macro standpoint. Maybe not necessarily so much fun to watch, but interesting in terms of how they approached playing the superstars, right? And that's also something that that Harry asked James about in that interview. He somewhat dodged it, but then kind of begrudgingly admitted that they did somewhat targets the bad players effectively on a Falcons team. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but that's what I read out of that interview a little bit, because at first he was kind of like, yeah, there are different ideas how to approach teams. He didn't necessarily say yes or no to the question of whether they're actually targeting bad teams on bad players on a team or whatever it is. But then, in a second answer, he basically says yes, so that's the interesting parts. But
is this the bit where he says, although there are games sometimes when you do the same thing where we mindlessly hit one spot because we understand that the opponents won't sustain pressure on it?
That's the one. That's the one that
opponents
basically tells you
yes. Sustain pressure. Okay, yes. Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it for sure.
You could see that all throughout the final where they were targeting Kixan, the fuck out of Kixan and Nucleons, and obviously, Nucleons was doing well up to that point, but he was missing there a lot, because if he had been doing the same thing that he had been doing up until then I think Falcons would have had a really good shot at winning this final. But when you're being targeted and you're constantly struggling to fight back, then obviously, especially on maps like Inferno, where you die and you give up the site effectively, especially if you have a Kixan behind you who's not necessarily expected to suddenly mow down 2-3 players for your teammates to rotate in and have a chance. So that was very interesting. It took Falcons a long time to adapt to as well.
Yeah, I think so their run is impressive. Like the grand final game is the one where you start bleeding into Falcons talk at this point, right? But the fact that they're going up against Falcons in the grand final, now there's pressure on Falcons, right? Whereas Falcons didn't have any pressure on them for the other games they played. So for the people who missed the Falcons run, they beat Vitality 2-1, and they actually stomped them on Mirage. That was a pretty convincing victory. And the other team that Falcons beat was Liquid, right? But Liquid aren't where they used to be, even though people want them to be there with the namesake. But that team is still trying to get back to some form of glory. So that was the Falcons run. Then they get to the final and they go up against PARIVISION, where we know PARIVISION are a good team. But you think if your Falcons just take down Vitality, you should at least have a competitive final. Now, the maps are competitive scoreline-wise, 13-9, 13-11, 13-11. But it felt like a lot of the time there that it was Falcons having to work back into the game. Like there was a decent lead that PARIVISION had accrued. And the thing is with the PARIVISION game, I know I said from a macro perspective, I really liked it. There's also some really good highlight moments. Like Noda was shooting super hard. They had some clutches or some retakes that you're not expecting him to win.
I mean, the Jame 1v3, that was a big swing moment, on Mirage even, right? It's like that was a huge moment for him.
Yeah, I just
think
think
ZLO 2v4 from like back triple and on Inferno, like a lot of big moments. If those didn't happen, those maps like easily could have either spiraled out of control because Falcons already were on a lead, or they could have swung the other way because it was close like on Inferno. So I think yeah, for sure, it was not just like the macro.
Yeah, it was. I just thought it was a fun game to watch, and I think that these kids in this team shoot like hard, right? And now you add Sway into the mix, who we already knew has some good aim on him, right? It's a fun team to watch. And even like Belchinok, who was having some tough moments, he then has like a massive Deagle 2K moment late in the piece on Mirage, and everyone had their moments throughout. There's some fun rounds to watch. I think there was a real stark contrast between the Falcons that were in the final and the ones versus Vitality, though. Prof, want to have any guess of what that was?
I mean, except Nucleons, I guess Monacy as well had a really tough final. I think on some of the maps, when you think about how Dust2 played out, you don't really feel like he was in position to do like the CT side that they lost like 8-4. For the most part, PARIVISION just avoided him very successfully in terms of like just hitting B all the time. And the reads on the CT side from Falcons were not there, right? They were playing like 4A a lot of the time, playing like double long setups and stuff. And PARIVISION was just ignoring all of that. And you can't really do much in a game like that. But then you go to Inferno and he was just missing shots, right? He was in quite a few positions where he could have done, when you look at the score of 13-11, 13-11, you don't really need much to make a difference in the final score. So I think that was it was a rough game for him, but like they did this to Donk. Obviously had a better game statistically against PARIVISION than Monacy, but he was also not super effective in terms of what you generally expect from Donk, like the multi-kill potential. Just throughout this run, like FURIA, Spirit, and Falcons, PARIVISION just limits people's multi-kills very effectively. Like very rarely do they get into situations where someone is just like getting 3 kills. Plus the calling is generally good, so they trade 1 for 1 and they get the site. And it just looks, I think what is great about them is just they make rounds look very easy oftentimes. So that was great. That was why it was enjoyable to watch, but maybe not exciting to watch, but enjoyable to watch from like, fuck it, these guys just make a lot of good decisions and put themselves in positions that are like, you don't really need to do too much.
I think with Monacy, partly you're right, but I do think that there were a lot of positions. I mean, you were talking about the misses. There were a lot of positions where when he did have a chance to do something, he just didn't.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the time, yes, it was being avoided. I think Mirage was kind of the same thing as well. He didn't even have the op that much on the CT side from what I remember. Neither on Dust2 because they had a good start and then they just lost the entire half. So they constantly had to go back on ecos and like I think he had the op like in 3 of the gun rounds or something like that, or not even that, and had to save it several times, So like obviously if you're being avoided to that degree, you're just not going to have the opportunities. But when you struggle, when you do get the opportunities, that's where you drop the ball. And when it ends 13-11, 13-11, one of those rounds you do something, you hit that jumping guy in the fucking Tech9 round on Inferno, you win Inferno, at least. Dust2 was the same kind of deal. So it's just, it was very disappointing to see Monacy not step up to the plate, especially because yeah, this is where he's supposed to shine, right? And we haven't really seen that for a long time. There's this whole, like, obviously it's like somewhat overblown, but there's definitely a beginning, like there's definitely a theme where m0NESY is starting to miss in these finals, and there's a reason why they ended up second in all 5 of the finals that they played since m0NESY came into Falcons.
I haven't
right?
looked at his stats in all of them. Has he been missing in all of them?
Not all of them. Like the early ones were pretty good. I think the ones that they played against Vitality in Melbourne, he was pretty good. And the one after that, I can't remember. Rivals might have been, but then the last 3, I think he's been kind of a hit and miss. I can check just quickly just to check on this.
I guess the FURIA one, Rivals
the Hong Kong one,
was not bad.
Yeah, it was good. 2 of the maps, yeah.
Yeah,
Vitality and where's this Pro League? He was good as well.
Because I think it's interesting, right? With what you were saying, Prof, it feels like you're saying that PARIVISION, or maybe it was Striker, either way, it could have been collectively. We're saying that you guys feel that PARIVISION are doing a good job at limiting the star players on these teams, as opposed to like m0NESY, like just not playing well. And I think there was shots
it is both. It is both.
There's one where he's playing top banana with the AWP and the player like jumps around half wall, and it's a shot that I think he hits every day of the week. It was a shot that he would have been hitting against Vitality the day before, and he's missing them. And those opportunities, like he misses the shot, then the guy who's meant to be there to take the contact next gets steamrolled, and then everything just fucking falls apart. He's playing like short with the Mac 10. I think that was against Vitality, and he just got overrun. But like,
there was also the long push from PARIVISION where he misses the first shot, and they basically let themselves get overwhelmed by Glocks. And NiKo has to come up with a big triple, even saving a round against 4 Glocks and a Deagle or whatever it was. So it's like a lot of really worrying situations. Where like that should have been just an easy round, right? So it was tough to watch.
Lucas, can we play? Can you share the screen that I've got up? I don't know if you can do it.
Just a sec.
I'm sharing my screen because this was one of the things while I was watching, and it's me nitpicking, but it's like I wanted to see him have the AWP more to give himself more opportunities, right? Especially on a map like Dust 2. So I just was going back and having a look right now at Skybox to see how the flow of that went, right? So on Dust 2, they win the pistol. They deal with the first 3 rounds, right? Which actually the first round, they win round 3 as a rifle. The third round they win round 3 as a rifle round, and they're able to get m0NESY and AWP from there, right? And then so he has a AWP from round 4 onwards. Is it up yet? I can't see. So it is up, yeah. So he's got the AWP here in round 4, right? You got PARIVISION. They take tunnels control heavy, setting up for a mid to B. They know mid to B split. They're abusing kicks and nucleons on B. It's a 2v2. It's 2v3. m0NESY goes down and spawn. Tesla's last man standing. He's gone. Okay, next round, they have enough money to buy, right? They've won 3 straight rounds. The first one they lost, and he had it all for free. But if you look over here to the right, everybody, you can see the buy is a little bit shitty. So
it's not showing because it's not. Yeah, you have to. There you go.
Okay, that's important. Keep that up, Lucas, because the people need to be able to see that part. The next buy round is like 2 Famouses, an M4, an AWP, and a 5.7. And then we go to default, start, heavy B default again, right? They're not like the AWP. m0NESY's not inserting himself into the play here with the AWP, right? Yeah. Like I would want to see
covering short, like at this point, right?
Yeah, but I would want to see the AWP. Like obviously they're playing for heavy long. This is what Prof was talking about. They're playing for a long pop. Right? That's what they're playing for here because they started 4A, right? They don't get what they're looking for with that, but that means the AWP's not inserted in the round. That's the best weapon you have in this round, and you have a kid who loves to go for picks. Okay, you're not using him for a pick. Did he even have a good spawn? No. So now he's not like looking for any fights. He's just holding an angle. Okay, they're setting up. They're going to do another B pop. They fucking B pop. Now m0NESY's like, okay, I'm going to save. So he saves. That's fine, right? Nothing wrong with that. Saves the AWP, all good. This is the one that bothers me. So look at this round, right? And I was watching this and I'm like, why are they going for this? They're going to lose the AWP. So this one is a partial with the save guns, or it's an eco with the save guns, excuse me. They're starting 2 short. Now they've set m0NESY up. Now he's looking for a pick. They go through the motions. He's been pushed back off the line. He's now holding long. They're going to go B. Now, Teslas gets 1. They lose the site. Nucleons and NiKo outside. NiKo gets another, so it's a 3v3. But this is still a really tough retake of B, right?
And another Molly coming in. Yeah.
I'm sitting there thinking, okay, surely Monacy's just going to save and let the other two look. Because the other two, like with a Famus and a 5-7, who gives a fuck? Well, it doesn't matter, right? They can lose that. It's all good. Monacy comes over and he's trying to help set him up, right, with flashes. And now it's a situation where it's a 2v1 and there's no time left on the clock. You're not winning this, and he loses the AWP. So then look at this.
Yeah, he also whiffed like there on his way when he was peeking the first time. So that's like a kill that you get and you save the AWP. It's like, it's not an important kill, but it's an important kill.
But it is important because look, round 7, no AWP. Round 8, no AWP. Round 9, no AWP. No AWP again until round 10. Right?
That's
like,
what I was talking about. He had the AWP like 3 gun rounds, right?
That's what I mean. It didn't feel like he had it a lot, and that was because he didn't save here. Right? Like, so anyway, I'm going to stop sharing now. I just thought that was interesting because when I was watching, I know I was critical of that at the time. I was like, they probably should save in this situation. No,
it's kind of what I was saying, that the calling, they were out-called on the CT sides in general. And this is people, someone in chat, has to be on NiKo on this point, but like, they did this against FURIA, against Fallen. They did this also against Spirit. So, it's not really... They can be like, oh, well, NiKo is a shit caller on the CT side. It's like, they just did it to everyone. This is how they won this whole tournament. So you can say, yeah, Game did better than NiKo, but this doesn't mean that NiKo is dog shit. I just want to be clear with this. If he is, then Fallen is also dog shit, which I don't think people would say. So that's just my 2 cents here.
Yeah, I guess like we're going to talk more about PARIVISION later because they're going to be in the Krakow previews. But obviously, it's really nice to watch a team play comprehensive team-based Counter-Strike. I think by the time we got to Inferno, the 3rd map, NiKo had figured it out. Like they were so pack heavy. He started like phasing through smokes and catching them on timings, or they would push and be really brave on flanks, knowing that there's likely nobody here watching this flank. So there were certain moments like on Inferno where it felt like, and they also like, guys, we have to fight. Like we have to try and take this to them. And again, another close map. So yeah, I think with the stand-in factor, if people's expectation had changed because they made it to the final, like mine didn't. My expectation didn't. I think the Vitality conversation is a different conversation, right?
Yeah.
But for them to have made it to the final, I think Falcons overperformed with a stand-in. I think the final would have been different. Not saying they would have won. Maybe they would have got a map if they had Kiyosuke there. If they had Kiyosuke there, do I think they would have beaten Vitality? No, I don't. That's a whole that's a different chat too. Lucas has to be right back, so I won't ask him to bring anything up. We'll make sure we don't bring anything up on the screen.
You want to just conclude the talk on PARIVISION? I think it makes sense. So we don't have to talk about them later. I want to say I don't expect them to be like tournament contender throughout the year based on this. I think they'll be dangerous. I think they'll be kind of what Virtus Pro back in their good years was, a team that no one really enjoys playing and is dangerous. But I don't think just based off this, they'll be a consistent contender for titles. I don't think this is like a hot take or anything. It just, they did get a lot of things going their way to win this tournament, as it is literally the first tournament of the year. Falcons upsetting Vitality, so they didn't have to play them in the final. Obviously, most of these teams coming with not a lot of practice. Vitality spoke about this specifically, playing like 2 days of practice before the online part of the tournament. I think people will adapt a bit more, as you said. Like even in the final, in the games that are happening, people are starting to catch up on how they're playing, but no one can really get like a free win on them. They are definitely a team that's going to be top 10-ish and not enjoyable as a matchup, for most teams.
That's fair. Yeah, I think for me, that's what I was saying about their Krakow opening games. Like people will probably have an expectation that they're going to win those games easily now, and I don't think that's a reasonable expectation. I think they've shown their ceiling, or the potential of their ceiling in this event. But to expect them to deliver that event after event, I don't even think they expect that of themselves, right? This is still a very young team with a lot of learnings. Are they competitive? Can they be fun to watch in moments? Can they be annoying to play against? Yes, right? But they don't immediately go, oh, I think they're going to be top 6 in Krakow. Okay, let's jump over to Falcons here. Striker, can you explain to me why NiKo was the MVP, please?
I think it's easier to explain why Nota wasn't, to be honest. It's like people.
Well, going into the final, who was in the race? I guess let's start there.
Nota wasn't in the race. I
There
was
you
just
go.
say that he was literally nowhere to be seen in the race. He was not even if you asked me, he probably would not have even been 10th in the race out of the 10 players in the final. Like, Jesus Christ, come on. Like, he had nothing leading into the final, which is the point. He had an amazing final, yes, but it was one series, right? It was 3 maps where, other people, like, he will still probably end up on top of the EVP list off of that. But in the comparison to NiKo, I think that was not necessarily a clear conversation. We still had to have kind of a deliberation on whether, the final was enough. But ultimately, we just felt like one series is not enough, especially when the previous NiKo showed quite a bit more during the tournament, that he had like an extra peak in every series effectively. And so that's effectively the reason. The reason partly is also that we,
as I the online stuff for the MVP?
No. That's my point. That I was just going to make, because at the awards we kind of hinted at this, that we felt like including online in the bounty discussions in the last year was actually not very helpful at all. If anything, it kind of gave a couple of EVPs that we probably wouldn't have otherwise. If it wasn't for the online period part, well, definitely wouldn't have. And it just didn't feel like it was helpful to consider games where, the number 5 team plays the number 25 team, and then the number 20 team in the next game. Like, just look at Donk's stats that look absolutely ridiculous if you consider both tournaments, or both, like, let's say both event pages, right? He played fucking Sinners and Air Circle, which is like barely top 30 or 35 teams, 35 and 30 teams. Like, is that really relevant to an MVP discussion at a tournament where you go to the finals where there are 5 top 10 teams in play? Obviously not, So that's kind of the reason why we decided not to include the online part in the discussions whatsoever. That's going to lead to a lot less awards for these 2 tournaments, and generally the event is going to be fairly low on the priority list, or like on the order end of year as well, right? So it's not like this is.
I guess
this
EPL
is be
will be the same this year. First EPL is online. Second one
is all LAN.
Yeah, exactly. So we will have three events this year where we're going to have like online into a LAN part, and in all those we will just end up considering the LAN parts just for it to have. Obviously, the fact that it's played online is the big point here. Like, we just don't necessarily want to look at it as that helpful, because so much play happens on LAN. Vast majority of play happens on LAN these days, that we would rather have that as the ultimate test rather than considering a few online games in a year just to have a complete picture of the tournament.
Yeah. Well, because like LAN, when we say LAN games, also there's like LAN in different modes now as well, because you have like a studio LAN, but you also have like a hotel room LAN, or you have like it's they're of different scales.
But now there's even an extra level to that scale where you have some group stages that are played in front of crowds, like Chengdu, for example, or the major, obviously, that had somewhat played in front of an audience, right? So even that is completely different within the context of one tournament, right?
Yeah, but I am glad you guys are continuing the online crusade. It feels like a sign that we were battling just a couple of weeks ago, and you guys are continuing to fly that flag into 2026. So I'd love to hear it. Also, what I did was I just filtered out the grand final and looked at the stats from the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Nota was literally the lowest rated player of PARIVISION before the grand final.
Yeah. They were just very split overall. Like, even if you look at how they contributed to all the map wins, they were all like 4 of their players minus Belchanok were all like 110 to 115 in the map wins, like that got them to victory, So it just speaks to just how much they share the credits throughout the whole tournament. And Nota obviously kind of deserves the most of it because it was all in the final, which is the most important game, which is the kind of argument that a lot of people were using, which is completely fair. Like, we obviously look at the grand final as the most important game, and if you're the most important in getting the actual victory at the end, it's going to give you the most credits, or whatever you want to call it. But it just felt like it wasn't enough on its own.
Okay, well, let's talk a bit about Falcons. So we obviously know how the grand final went. The Vitality win is a big win. And this is kind of something that I was framing, Prof. I don't know how you feel about this, but I was framing for Falcons. Like, they get the reps in online with Kiyosuke, so they're kind of like warmed in as a team. They obviously know that they're not going to be able to take him. This is before, like, they've said, like, this is my assumption here, but this has to have been how it went down. We're going to play Blast Bounty. If we qualify for the LAN portion, we're using Nucleons. Kiyosuke can't be there. So let's just use this for reps. Then we'll go to LAN and we'll just play and get in some games, right?
Yeah.
And then that's exactly what they did. And they took down Vitality because there was not because there was no pressure, but you're under less stress if there's no pressure.
Definitely helped them for
right?
sure.
And then they take down Vitality without Kyosuke. Surely that's going to help their confidence going into Krakow if they take on Vitality again. Surely, Prof.
Yeah.
So
is that the whole question, or is it felt like you're leaning somewhere else?
There's not really a question here. It's just like they got a free swing at this event to do whatever.
No,
the fuck
I
they
mean,
wanted.
I think it is slightly disappointing, but also adding the fact that Zonic was also not there, so they're using not their coach as their coach. They're a newly appointed assistant coach or analyst. I don't know what the exact title is. No disrespect. But they're definitely not. And like, if they just lost to Liquid in the first game they played, no one would say anything. So the fact that people
would say something, but the people who are measuring them by any reasonable standard wouldn't say anything.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. So they beat Liquid, which is already like, oh my God, Liquid's they're bots, right? They lost to a guy with a stand-in, the team with a stand-in. No. Then Vitality lose to them as well, which was an insane series for NiKo, an insane last map as well. To get them the grand final. I think overall Falcons can be happy with the result. Obviously, it's very bittersweet knowing that the opponent is PARIVISION, someone that should not be winning this tournament at all. Like they're not out of the, I don't know, 8 teams that are there. They're like 6th highest ranked, and they're completely outside of reasonable contention to win this tournament. Spirit, FURIA, and then into a grand final where the other side is like Falcons, Vitality. There's on paper, Falcons get to the grand final, they should win it. But of course, it's not that simple. So I think overall a decent tournament, and also showing that, Nucleon's had a great, not a great grand final, but overall looked like a decent player. And
had a decent game against Vitality. I thought he played pretty well, yeah.
The implication is that Kyosuke, he obviously couldn't make it to this one, and he might not make it to some other tournaments in Schengen area in the future in this year, and that this guy will be used, gives them some, it's
reassurance,
reassurance, but some reassurance that they can still play. Maybe they can play a group stage, and if they make the playoffs, then Kyosuke can come in, or whatever. If that's like the situation where they need to save some days on the Schengen situation. So overall, I think it's a good, successful tournament for Falcons, even though it feels like a huge disappointment with the final result.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you feel any different, Striker, or are you content?
No,
with
completely
Falcons?
agreed. I talked about it when we had Ash last time on the show, where kind of like underlining the point that this is effectively to give Nucleons a bit more experience, right? Because they knew heading into this tournament, and when they accepted this invite, that Kyosuke wouldn't play it. Most likely, we don't necessarily know 100% that they decided this already before, but knowing what I know around how the visa situation works, talking to the Falcons manager a little bit about the situation, it just felt like they went into this tournament only to have some reps going early into the year, and to give Nucleons a bit more experience, as Prof said, for future occasions where this might happen again. So I think with that in mind, I would call it a success for Falcons. Obviously, it's in the lens of MONAC. If you look at this event as MONAC, you're probably going to be pretty fucking pissed at yourself, and generally really disappointed with the final result because of, ultimately dropping the ball when it most mattered, especially when it ended up being relatively close on all maps, right? But through the lens of the team as a whole, I don't think it's a big deal.
There's another conversation I see circulating online. I saw some people talking about this. I think Kassad made a tweet. People like saying whether or not.
What did he say this time, man? I didn't see this.
He said any event that has only 8 teams and a single elimination bracket is not a big event.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Striker?
It's a difficult one it was a difficult one to talk about. It is just really hard to make that distinction when, we obviously would have to ignore an entire previous part where all the top teams were, effectively not completely all the top teams, but almost all the top teams said yes to this, right? And we shouldn't necessarily punish the event just because the top teams didn't make it to the LAN portion of it. So we just still felt like we should classify it as a big event. Again, in terms of where it actually falls among the big events, it's probably going to be way down at the bottom because of how it turned out, and also because of it having an online group stage, right? But we still classified it as one. But I can definitely see the argument. It's just more about how we look at it as a filter.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What about you, Prof? How do you feel about that statement?
I mean, kind of similar. It's just like it's such a rare thing to have that's almost like, what is the, we need to have this discussion, or will this solve itself? Because I feel
I was going to ask the next question. What are the odds they run this type of format in 2027?
I feel like it's low.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We should get on the campaigning trail and everything, Chad, with what we were talking about last time.
Well, let's have some conversations. There's some open doors.
Yeah.
Phone calls to be made. Because that's kind of the point. It's kind of like the Valve approach. Why do we need to change stuff if people change it themselves?
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully it solves itself. If not, we can keep beating the online drum and all this other nonsense. Okay. So there's other stuff to talk about here with FURIA, Vitality, and Spirit. But do we want to talk about it now, or do we just want to get in the Krakow preview and talk about it then? Because I feel like we could just gloss over it now.
I feel like we can talk about it now and then gloss over it
It's
later.
just one game anyway, so it's not that much to talk about anyway.
So Vitality, like ZywOo was missing in their game against Falcons, right? Like he was nowhere to be seen. It was Mezzy and, well, mainly Flamesy who are the top, like, stats-wise for them in that game. So Rops and ZywOo both having a tougher time. I think it's concerning from the sense that you like to see these players in form, and they lost to Vitality. And they lost to Falcons with a stand-in. That's probably why there's concern. But also, they get the same context as everybody else, that it's the first event of the year and they're warming into things, right? What is it? 16 straight semifinals now that they've been in. But you could see things weren't clicking as they should. Now they might just put that down to being, not ready to go. But yeah, they definitely, same as FURIA. But FURIA's could be seen as more concerning because of their major.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, for Vitality, what I was saying before, Apex was talking about this in the interview. They took more time off now than in the summer, like off season, after the Austin Major. So they really wanted to like reset, get into this season like rested, so they can like build throughout the season, not like do some insane boot camp before, which is, for example, not really the case for Falcons, who started, I would say, a bit earlier. Anyway, two practice days before the start of Bounty, which shows like this is literally just a warm-up tournament. And you could see also after the defeat that they weren't really too disappointed. Even Apex wasn't too disappointed. It was like, yeah, it's kind of sucks, but it is what it is. People are whiffing. People didn't get the kills they need to be getting. You lose the game, and that's it. And all. It's always a two-way street. Also, NiKo is playing insane, so that's kind of shuts you down. Don't really get that many opportunities when he's playing his prime. So that's that. That's the end of the story. I would say, I would say for FURIA, also just like not really fully connected.
There was some of the moments, like their individuals looked, I was like, what is going on here? Especially, what was their first series? Was that the Gamer Legion one?
Yeah.
That one right
also
there.
Also pretty concerning, right?
Yeah. Some of the moments from individuals, I was just like, whoa, like their aim was bad, or like they were late to something that normally they'd be good on.
So missed flashes, missed utility.
Yeah.
There's a lot of details that are just like very rough around the edges.
It's easy to chalk it up to like lack of preparation, but is it smart considering, especially like, okay, maybe you would expect this to happen online, right? Where they would be a little bit rusty, and they were also there in moments as well. But if it happens all the way on the Saturday when, they're playing less than a week later in Krakow, that's not necessarily like reassuring for me if I'm considering how Vitality will look in Krakow, and we're going to get into this later, obviously. But what do we think about that? Because it doesn't feel like they're ready for the season,
Sorry. Yeah, it's a fair angle. I guess, like, could you say it's a focus issue at the time? Like they're just not that G'd up for the event? Like, I guess you can't, because when you're a competitor and you're in the server, you should be locked in, right? That's kind of how it goes.
I think it's more about how much you put in before that in DM or whatever it is. I can see that, but that's that's effectively why they were looking rough, right? Because it just felt like they weren't warmed up. They just looked a bit rusty. So but yeah, I would have expected that to fix itself over the week that they play this tournament, because obviously the online stage is pretty spread out. You don't even play for a couple of days, then you play again and all these things. So I would have expected that to fix itself, at least more or less for the finals. But in that game against Falcons, they looked more out of sorts than any time before. So that's the concerning part for me.
Yeah, I guess like PARIVISION is the team that beat so PARIVISION, FURIA, and then Spirit. Like Spirit's the next topic. PARIVISION, Spirit, like these are some of the biggest names. Obviously, Spirit get maybe a little bit more slack because they've just brought in Magic's to in-game lead and Zontic's back. But this is it. Like the scalps you're talking about, PARIVISION beating are some of these biggest names, and then we're talking about these teams not looking ready, and the events here. So, but then we're saying, but PARIVISION probably won't perform to that caliber again. So it becomes a weird convo, right? Like, are the teams not ready, or are they ready and PARIVISION are good and they'll be good again? I don't know. It's a weird conundrum that you've created here with this question.
I think it'll be fine. I think a week, this week being a warm-up week.
It is.
Now they have a week
so
off to get into stuff, and then hopefully go through the group stage. That's another week, and now we're a few days off, and then you're reaching playoffs, and that's like 2.5 weeks from now when we're talking about Krakow playoffs. Will they get there? If they're playing very sloppy CS, that's a question mark, because everyone plays Counter-Strike these days. No one's a free win, but I think for like a team like Vitality, it will be fine. I think FURIA was a bit more. I'd give them like 20% more concerning how they played, but I think both of them will be competitive by the time we're in Poland.
Yeah, I think so too, generally. What do we make of Spirit, right? Like the donk not looking very happy, boys. Donk not having a good time.
Well, donk understands now that its team needs to win for him to win, or whatever the quote was.
Donk to PARIVISION.
Donk to PARIVISION. That would be a move. I don't know. I have to say I enjoyed the Zontic's interview. Who would have said? Who would have predicted this sentence to come out of anyone's mouth?
I think he's so underrated, man. I think most of his interviews are good unless they're on stream.
That is true. I also feel like you need to ask him the right questions, but really like them saying I think the number one matters to donk a lot more than he says, and I believe this, but I believe this also because if you saw even ZywOo being upset about being number 3, and ZywOo kind of doesn't give a fuck about anything in the world, then donk cares more. Donk cares more than ZywOo, 100%. So, and considering how the year was, and that he objectively had a really good year, I'm sure it was something that's adding a little more fire to this year in terms of like, the team needs to be winning more tournaments. Just the bottom line, the team needs to go to finals. I need to be playing well in these finals to be number 1 next year or this year, right? So I think that's an interesting angle, and that's why I think even though Spirit objectively from the outside, it's not that big of a disappointment considering the 2 changes, new IGL and everything. I think there's a reason to be upset also because the way they got outclassed in some ways against PARIVISION, who started like both maps down, like all of the maps down, and managed to claw back into like halves and then win out pretty convincingly in the end in the second half. So I think they had all what they needed to win that is Spirit in these games, but were not able to. So it is a very frustrating way to fizzle out from Spirit.
Yeah, I guess I was really like when I was watching the game, PARIVISION Spirit, I was looking at it from PARIVISION's perspective more than like Spirit's, which is weird, but I don't know. I thought that they were going to be competitive. And even though Overpass was 13-5, I feel like it was much more competitive than the scoreline says, because the pistol round was a clutch where I think Magic's had to win, or Tania had to win like a 1v2 or something. Like I think maybe Boris got 3 kills on the B side, and then Tanir won the clutch.
Then it became tight somehow.
And then there was another round where it was like the next one was like a 1v1, and then the one after that was a 1v2, and then there was a couple rounds later in the piece as well. And then they still managed to get like I think it was 4 rounds on their T side of overpass. I was like, okay, but then you have to make good. You got to win the pistol, and they just weren't able to get things together on their CT side. So I was like, okay, map number 1, it looks like a blowout, but I feel like it was closer than the scoreline painted the picture. Like that was my take on things. And then as the series progressed and stuff, and you're watching, you're like, okay, hold up a second. Like they're making some good plays here. Like they're making some good moves, some good moments, and them to turn it around, then win on Mirage, and then close out on Ancient, which can be maps where a rifle like Donk could just take over. That's pretty impressive stuff. So yeah, I know. Again, I wasn't talking about it from the Spirit angle. I just think with Magix and Zontic's back, it's going to take some time. The biggest thing I was doing when watching Spirit in the server was like, okay, what positions are they playing on what maps? Okay, yep, no, they're not lying. Zontix literally does have all of his CT spots back.
Yeah.
Tanir's going to have to take over some of these more anchory type positions. Magix is going to take all the bitch jobs. Okay, once we swap over T side, Tanir's going to be more of the aggressive lurk. Because
I mean, not even Magix all of the bitch jobs. Like Tanir is more of that. Like if they're doing like an execute, Tanir's going first.
Someone's got to be there for Donk. Someone's got to put their life on the line.
Magix wasn't lying to me. Who would have thought?
Someone's got to put their life on the line. That's how she goes.
But I have to say, I am a bit. I wouldn't expect it to go this way, and I'm not sure it's the correct way to utilize the players that they have.
I still think. I mean, Magix was still entering a lot. To be fair, like I don't think he was. It's quite as.
But also Tanir as like full anchor. Not sure about that versus Zontix, who I feel like fits more into that role. But maybe his comms in some of these rotation positions on CT are important, so that's why they want to use him there. I'm not sure.
More experienced as well, right? Than Tanir. Now it's really just Tanir who's lacking experience on the roster, because last year was his breakout year, right? So I think as well, Zontix and Magix. Well, Zontix wasn't on the bench for as long as Magix was, but both of them, Zontix didn't set out that long at all, did he? What was his last event? Was it EWC?
Yeah, something like that.
Or was it Open?
London.
Yeah.
So he only sat out what?
3 months?
3 to 4 months?
Yeah.
It's not that long.
I saw he was just not really present in the online part, and then against PARIVISION, like he was just more of his old self, I felt like, because he was just very dependable. I mean, that's kind of what you expect from Zontix, not necessarily blowing anybody's mind, but just always doing what he needs to. And I felt like he still did that against PARIVISION. So that was my kind of main concern, whether he was going to be a little bit rusty coming in, but I'm not so concerned anymore.
Did he get an ace at one point? Was that
Yeah, he did. Of course, no headshots.
Yeah, it was all body shots. That was like coming out short or something. It was fucking sick.
Yeah,
and then Magic's got an ace as well.
He's not blowing anyone's mind
Eco Bash ace
or heads.
Try this one on for size, boys. On Mirage, in the 13-9 victory for PARIVISION, the opening kills was 15-7 in Spirit's favor. And on Ancient, it was 12-9 in favor of Spirit. And they lose both those maps. Like, fuck. You can't be having that go against you. You can't be having that go against you, can you?
Yeah,
I'm just like clicking through stats because I was curious about the entering stuff. Magix is still really high and Tanir is still pretty low. So like overall, it just it works out. But I was just looking at Donk, who's 96 out of 100 on entering.
Yeah.
40% traded deaths for that game, for that one game, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, yeah.
But he was still like, very,
Not
very
bad.
involved. I mean, that's kind of insane. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like last year, obviously, he was heading more towards the second guy and, just making sure that he survives in a few more situations than he would before. Before he would just run at people and kill them regardless of if they're executing or whatever it is. I think he was a bit more sensible in 25, which is obviously, part of why his statistically he even went up compared to 2024. But slightly worried that maybe he's heading back in the 2025 direction.
Oh, we'll find out.
24, sorry.
Krakow up next. All right, let's do this, boys. Let's jump into the IEM Krakow preview. Now we're going to do a Skinionaire. I didn't even write the Skinionaire thing so I'm going to manually do it. Skinionaire. So this is a Katowice edition of Skinionaire, and you might be asking yourself, why is it a Katowice edition? Well, we were in Katowice from 2014 up until 2025. Obviously, we missed 2020. Well, no, we missed 2021 because of the pandemic. But either way, that means there have been 12 Katowices. So today, gentlemen, you have 12 questions that the two of you combined will be able to answer. Now, I want 50% correct for the people at home to take home the $50 skin. You need to get 6 questions out of 12.
Can I have a few questions for you before we start?
Okay.
Question number 1. Is it 1 question per Katowice tournament? So, okay, we're starting 2013. Okay.
2014, yep.
2014, yes.
That was a 13 one, to be fair, but not really relevant.
And why is there no IEM Hanover? We all know this was always a part of this collection of tournaments, and it was always very much ingrained into Katowice. Everyone was talking Katowice and Hanover. This is always a thing, right? And it's Hanover, Katowice, and Krakow.
I just wanted to keep it CSGO and CS2 related, Prof. Okay, I didn't want to go back. You know, we'll do a WCG Source edition next week on the show, and we can do some 1.6 stuff for Hanover in the future.
With the IEMs. I know that like the Polish guys were good at those, but like, who knows?
Maybe we should get like one of the legends on, like get a potty on or something on the podcast, and then we can actually do some questions from back in the ancient years and see how many he remembers and gets right, or if the questions are even correct. That could be the whole other thing.
Yeah. Now, we did a roundtable with Potty, K Sharp, and Kenny for some Hall of Fame and inductees and nominees. So that's going to be coming up soon on the YouTube.
That was with Lucas, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Everyone in chat is already typing the code word, but if you don't know, I can't say the code word, can I?
Yeah. Then you look in chat and they can write it as well.
All right. If you're in Kick chat right now, you can see what everyone else is writing, and you can write that. If you write that, that's your raffle ticket to enter the draw. You could be the lucky winner of whatever value skin that these two guys could be bringing you based off of the 12 questions about Katowice that I'm about to ask. So this is Who Wants to Be a Skinionaire? Let's get into it. Question number 1. Katowice 2014 Major was officially called ESL1 Katowice, EMS1 Katowice, or IEM Katowice?
Yes, EMS1. What even EMS? What does that mean?
ESL Major Series, I think it was.
I gotta open Skinionaire 1 second, but yeah, locking
Major Series? That seems weird, but yeah.
Well, it's just because I think at the time.
It was a major series.
At the time, they had League of Legends in the IEM tournament, so they didn't want to bring Counter-Strike under the IEM banner, so they were running with different names, and then EMS1 eventually became ESL1, and then we know ESL1 for many years when it was ESL1 Cologne, and then eventually they sold the naming rights of that to Intel, and now it's Intel Extreme Masters Cologne. Okay, 1 from 1. Question number 2. Which team did Vox Eminor beat at ESL1 Katowice 2015? Was it Titan, CLG, or Flipside? That was Aish.
It's obviously not Titan then. Probably the Americans. Probably they always played cash.
Wait, no, this is not the Titan one.
No, Titan is Mirage, obviously, and that was Cologne, right? Yes,
correct.
I think it would be CLG. I think they would beat CLG, or would it be? Or were they good then?
I have a feeling like Chad at some point said something about beating Blade.
Could also be.
I don't know. I actually don't know.
Okay, go for Flipside. Go for Flipside.
Locking in Flipside. Correct answer is Flipside. We dumpstered them like 16-3. We fucking.
So that was Blade, Waylander, World Edit.
Yeah.
Shara
Markelov. Was it Markelov at this point? Probably.
Not Electronic. I can tell you that. Yeah, CLG probably. 2015 was actually good. Like they should have been pretty good.
We played them in the Gamescom thing. I think we beat them there.
Yeah.
Or no, we played Cadian's team SK a lot there. Maybe we didn't play COG. Yeah, they were decent, that COG roster. Okay, question number 3. IEM Katowice 2016 was won by who? Luminosity, Fnatic, Astralis.
Not Astralis for sure. Luminosity, no, they won in 2016. So 2015. The 2015 Fnatic, that was the major, no?
Well, 2016 Katowice wasn't a major.
But this is 20. Is it 2015 or 16?
16.
Oh fuck, my resolution is very bad. I thought it was 2015.
Was it Luminosity? It wasn't Astralis. I can say that. That's for sure. No.
20.
Astralis didn't even exist at this point yet.
2016 is Fnatic against FaZe, no? Best of 5.
Is that
Flush
the one?
Ice
Because
is-
I felt like that was
Because 2017 was the.
Say it.
Oh my god.
Lock
Wait.
it in, boys. 10 seconds.
I think it's not. I think it's Fnatic. I think it's Fnatic.
Prof?
Yeah, I don't know. He knows.
Because I think
Fnatic.
Luminosity won MLG Columbus as their first tournament.
Okay, go.
It is
There you go.
Fnatic.
Okay.
They won in 2015 and 2016, winning in back-to-back years.
Yes.
There you go. Because Luminosity went into Columbus not having won anything, and then they won the major as their first tournament.
Yeah.
It was Luminosity versus Fnatic in the final.
There you go.
Okay. 2017 was.
2017 coming. Well, let's find out. The question is 2017 coming up right now,
Ooh.
Prof. Next question.
Okay.
Which of these maps was in the rotation
Why?
in Katowice in 2017? Cobblestone, Train, or Dust 2?
This I'm fucking.
This 100% a trick question where Dust 2 is not in.
Yeah, but which
Why-
of these
why a
maps
trick
was
question?
in the rotation?
Okay, who won 2017?
Wasn't 2018 the Flusha thing?
Okay.
Flusha
Right.
thing was 2018. No?
Can't be 3 years in a row winning Fnatic. That's what I can tell.
No. But it doesn't.
2017
Who
is
the fuck?
2017 is Astralis,
FaZe
Zip-
against Astralis.
Zipex MVP, no? 13
Yes.
clutches.
Yes.
Where are the clutches? There's a clutch on Trey.
I have no fucking idea.
There's a clutch on Trey.
I have no fucking idea.
Go for
I
Trey.
can't
I'm
tell.
going for Trey.
I wouldn't be able to say regardless. I can't remember.
Taking Train.
All right.
Train?
You're saying train?
Yeah.
Maps was in the rotation. Locking in
Was.
Train. Correct answer is Cobblestone.
Cobblestone.
Absolutely no idea. I'm just so shit at that.
2017. Okay, fuck. Rough.
Was it? It was Astralis phase, right? The final.
I believe so,
and
yes.
phase. Yeah.
Yep.
That was the first NiKo event.
I don't
with
want to give
FaZe.
away too much because there might be questions relating to some of this later.
Okay. That was the first NiKo event with FaZe, I'm pretty sure. Or second, maybe. I don't know.
Okay,
Very
let's
early.
continue.
Okay. Next question, please, Lucas. Fnatic win their third Katowice title versus who in a banger of a best-of-5 final? FaZe, Liquid, or Astralis?
That is FaZe. 100%.
Locking in FaZe. Correct answer is FaZe. This was the crazy one with Flusha going nuts and up close
That
connector,
train and train decider,
Train.
it's
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah.
yeah, that was a bit of a wild one. That was fun. That was a fun one. People are saying Train was in too. Oh, maybe it was. Maybe I fucked up my questions. I was doing it in the airport. Let's have a look. Let me go back and see.
So it's
IEM
2017.
Krakow, maybe it was. I could have completely fucked it up. Yeah, I probably did, knowing me. It wasn't the map pool. So you were right.
Yeah.
I guess I fucked the question. Okay. So they've been right on all of them so far, Lucas. It was me who was wrong. All right, next answer. Next question.
Me who?
Hopefully we find the answer. Who was the major MVP for Astralis in their 2019 win over Ents? Was it Device, Dupree, or Magisk?
Magisk.
I remember this.
Okay, Magisk. Correct answer is
I did the interview.
Yeah, I
Magisk.
remember it. You had a little MVP on the side. I remember this one as well.
okay. All right, you guys are smashing this.
Now we're like a bit more recent.
You've
Stuff.
already guaranteed the $50. Let's just keep on rolling, shall we? Next question. 2020 was played in the Spodek, but with no fans, comma, why? Brovid-19? OJ didn't say, are you ready? Or was it the pandemic?
That second one feels like a fucking horrible situation. Like I don't know how we can start a game without him asking 2 times.
Technically, there might have been some fans because, you know, in Katowice, it was always like very dodgy press. And the crowd was like, you know, the crowd in Katowice was probably better than the one at Bounty because there's always so much press there that like you could actually feel like a good 200 seats just from press alone. So there you go. But it was the pandemic.
Yeah.
Locking in the pandemic, of course. 2020, that was the event where everything closed down, wasn't it? But at least we got to finish Katowice and Navi won on stage, right? Right? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Next question. 2021 was played online. Who won? Gambit, Heroic, or Big?
Gambits.
Gambit. It was
Three
Gambit,
absolute-
Spirit, VP, top 3.
right? Yeah, it was. It was pretty miserable days back then, wasn't it? Online Counter-Strike really took a bit of a turn, didn't it? Okay, next question. 2022 was won by FaZe with a stand-in over G230. Name that stand-in. Was it Chroman, JKS, or Exist?
Easy. JKS.
JKS. Won a tournament also with Exist.
They win both. And with Chroman.
And with Chroman, too, yeah.
They won Sydney with Exist and Chroman, like ECS or something. They won
Brazil?
No, Brazil, right?
Oh, Brazil.
Belo
Horizonte.
I think we have 2 questions left.
All right.
Something like that, yeah.
Three questions left. Okay, never mind. We have 3 questions left. That was only 2022.
Is there one about this year? No, there's not. Never mind. 3, 4, 5.
How many Katowice finals had NiKo been in before winning over Heroic in 2023? Had he been in 2, 3, or 4?
So 2017 he was. That would have been his first one. 2018 he was. That would have been his second one because that was Fnatic. Was there any more? 2019, no. 2020. Would he have played against? I don't feel like it was Gambit against.
He was in 2022.
Oh, 22. Oh yeah, because that was the big big Navi G2 game, right?
No.
Oh, what was it?
No. Wait, 2020, yes.
Oh,
that was the G2
of course,
game.
Yes. That's 3 already.
And then the FaZe one that they also lost, G2 FaZe, with JKS. JKS won against G2, so that would be 4 finals.
Okay, I believe you. I guess.
Yeah.
I can't remember that one. Like, what was the final there?
Correct answer is 3.
What did we miss?
So the last one is wrong, no? The one with FaZe was
G2 Navi.
Play?
He wasn't in G2 in the 2020 game, was he?
Ooh, that's why. He already left.
No, he didn't join yet.
Yeah, he wasn't in the team at that point.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He didn't leave FaZe yet.
That's all right. That's all right. You've already guaranteed the $50, guys. You've already done your part for the people playing.
Didn't he join? Midway, it was a summer transfer.
It was like summer 2021,
wasn't it?
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 2 more questions. What was Donk's rating in his breakout tournament at Katowice 2024? 1.6, 1.7, or 1.8?
Which rating?
1.7, but now it's more actually.
Yeah, I know. I when I was looking at 3.0, I was like, oh, it's more.
Like
looking at 1.7.
4, I don't know.
Yeah, it could have. Yeah, I think it was 174. But 1.7 correct. The monster. He'll be back again in a couple days. Okay, and the final question, a very lengthy. Who wants to be a Skinionaire? In Vitality's win in 2025, they only lost 1 map the entire event. To whom? Was it FaZe, Virtus.pro, or Eternal Fire?
I mean, that was the whole thing that Eternal Fire were the. Oh no,
that was because they lost in Bounty.
They lost in Bounty. Yeah.
Virtus.pro is playing with a stand-in in the playoffs.
No way, it was Virtus.pro. No.
Didn't FaZe play them close? It was the whole like, what if?
Yeah, I feel like you're right. I feel like you must be right.
You want FaZe?
I don't know. I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember the run at all.
I'd go for FaZe.
Locking in FaZe. Correct answer is FaZe. That's 11 out of 12 correct. And one of the questions I fucked up. So if anything, you get bonus points for that. All right, we're going to draw our winner. That's Who Wants to Be a Skinionaire, brought to one of our sponsors, brought to you by one of our sponsors, I should say. Thank you all for participating. That was a lengthy one. But we did history of Katowice, and now we move to Krakow, to the Toron Arena. It's starting in 2 days' time, where the whole event will be from the Toron, if I understand correctly. So I think we'll head there tomorrow for rehearsal and stuff and go and check out what the group stage setup is going to look like. And Lucas will draw the winner now. Lucas, do you want me to wait for you to do this, or should I just keep on rolling, mate? Oh, here it is. He's rolling. Rolling. Imagine if Crawley won again. 2 Dirt Boy. He's either 2 people or Dirt Boy was taken and wanted to put the 2 in front. Congratulations to 2 Dirt Boy. Our people will reach out to your people. We'll get it sorted. We'll get you the $50 skin. Congratulations, my friend. All right, let's keep it moving. we've taken a bit too much time on a lot of other things because this topic right now, there's actually a lot to preview. I was writing stuff down on my cellular telephone device. So for those of you at home who are not familiar with the format that's running the championship level of events for ESL with the IEMs, it is stage 1 into stage 2. There are 16 teams in stage 1. They play in a essentially double elimination bracket with 8 teams of the 16 progressing to join 2 groups. Those groups have already been predetermined for stage 2. Those groups are Group A, which has FURIA, the Mongols, Na'Vi, and Spirit awaiting, and Group B that has Vitality, FaZe, Mouse, and Falcons waiting. And then of those groups, 3 teams from each group will progress to play in a 6-team playoff bracket on the finals weekend in the Toron Arena. It's best of 3 for everything. There's no best of 1 games at any point, and it's a best of 5 grand final, and it also has a third place decider match on the Sunday. So it depends on which teams are there. That could have some good value for certain teams for VRS points. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that. Okay. That's the lay of the land there, excuse me. Let's talk about these stage 1 teams, shall we? And that statement I made earlier, Striker, it is correct, right? This is the only event of the year that will have guaranteed the top 24 global VRS.
Yes, I'm pretty sure you're right. Yeah, I went through and I didn't see something that stood out other than EWC, as I said. Like, it might work out that all the top 24 will be there, but it's not top 24 by
but
global.
They're not inviting directly the top 24 by global. So which means that this is a pretty stacked tournament, right? So the teams who are in stage 1 are PARIVISION, G2, 3D Max, Liquid, Aurora, Passion UA, Pain, Bait, Astralis, Gamer Legion, Heroic, Legacy, Foot, Ninjas in Pajamas, NRG, and BCGame. Now, obviously, BCGame have the Saw core, and this is going to be a very important tournament for them. But while I was on the plane, I was kind of writing down and putting these teams in different stages into groups together of like level of importance or how I kind of see their general story. So it's like Liquid is a huge one as part of this. Liquid is a massive one.
Do you want to, by the way, we do have the tier maker thingy. You can put them in.
Do you want to link it for me? I'm not on WhatsApp on this new PC, unfortunately.
Okay. I did do that. No problem.
I'm very, very happy that ESL provided me a PC so I didn't have to bring my fucking laptop. Okay, cool. So it's just S, A, B, C, and D. Okay.
Yeah, if you want, we can, I think, change them.
Yeah, well, let's talk in like a little bit general right now for a second, because let's see if we can find some groupings.
I can change the things.
Okay, here. Cool. Because there's certain teams here who are teams who skipped bounty by choice, right? The teams who skipped bounty were Mouse, Mongols, G2, Legacy, Bait, Saw, so they became BCGame, obviously, FlyQuest, LinVision, MIBR, Tylo, and Fluxo. Well, the last group of teams, FlyQuest, LinVision, MIBR, Tylo, and Fluxo, they don't count because they're not here. But Bait, Saw, at least the core, Legacy, G2, the Mongols, and Mouse are. We know Legacy have been playing some CS. The BCGame guys played some online stuff. Have Bait played anything? Or are they... I know they changed Hedrick out and they got this new kid in on the AWP.
I don't know if they played something otherwise.
Segukawa? It doesn't look like they haven't played anything.
No, they haven't played anything, no.
So there's a group of teams here who we haven't seen play yet. So that's quite interesting.
I mean, just touching on the Bait situation, Segukawa, 16 years of age, 0 HLTV matches.
Kind of a risk, huh?
This is literally the most out of nowhere pickup for like a top 10 team, which they are, plus minus, or they were at the time of this, I think on VRS, ever. Yeah, it's actually insane. So that's something about
Nucleons had 5 games and all on LAN before this.
That's something about how confident they were in Hedrick, I will say.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense, though. Like, it was just not really being very useful most of the time. So you just want to take a risk. If you want to take a risk, this is the time.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting because it's trial by fire for this kid. So, I was going to stay focused on stage 1 teams, but fuck it. Let's go broader because we have all the teams here.
Fuck it. Yeah.
So the way that I'm framing this event is like you're taking the results of bounty into consideration, of course, but it doesn't change the fact that coming out of 2025 into 2026, Vitality is still the team to beat, right? It was their year. They won both majors. And they're the champions of this event last year, even though it's Katowice, now it's Krakow. So you look at that, Vitality are the top dog, right? So for me, it's who's going to be able to take down Vitality. That's the framing of this whole conversation, right? Is anybody able to beat? Yeah,
Falcons.
Yeah.
I guess that could be one tier, top dog.
Yeah, so like they've got the target on their back, right? They are the main team that we're focusing on to see, are they able to rack up this win? You mentioned it before, Prof, saying that Apex didn't look too bothered by the loss they had to Falcons. So as long as they're staying relatively grounded, they got in their warm up, and now they're able to put their best foot forward. This is the one that everyone is looking at, right? And they're still looking. They need this. Vitality need this to be able to complete the Grand Slam without the major. Right? If they win this, they'll be able to complete the Grand Slam before the major. If they don't win this event, then if they want to get the Grand Slam done, they're going to have to win Cologne, which they obviously want to win because it's a major, but they're going to need to win that. And that would be likely where they clinch the major, assuming they win. What is it they have to win? Is it one more event?
There's 4 events, including one, no?
Yeah, yes, but they've already won
EPL.
That's it. That's all they have, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they still need 2 more regular events and then a Krakow or a Cologne. So, yeah. So
and
there's
that's
a lot.
with them skipping EPL, so it's not like it's going to be easy, you know?
So it's Rio and Atlanta. And okay, so
assuming they say yes to both of them, or Rio, we already know, right? But Atlanta, we don't.
Well, I guess based off of the conversation I had with Apex in Serbia on the stream, it would seem like then they're probably doing both. To try and do the Grand Slam.
Makes sense.
Because they're skipping EPL.
I guess. Okay. So
I'd be surprised if they skip 2 ESL events in a season, to be honest. I mean, I'm not even sure they can because they probably skipped something before. Maybe not. I don't think
they've skipped anything ESL otherwise, but you're talking about the rev share, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Vitality the top dog. I don't think anybody has any arguments with that, right? So who else are we putting other teams on their level? Are we putting everybody else below them? Right?
I don't think there is
this?
anyone else on their level. I think FURIA before the major, you could say that. I think after the major and after initial impressions, I think they're in this category just below.
I think there's like the next 5, right?
Okay,
Which
so
is like all going to be the same.
And contenders,
challengers, I guess. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have added this, so I think Lucas would need to refresh. So I have top dog, challengers, and I have VRS Hungary as one category.
Okay.
So I would say is Liquid and BCGame for sure, and maybe a few other names come into that. And then the last 3, I don't really.
They're only on your PC when you do those changes.
But you could do it on your end, can't you, Lucas?
Yeah, if copy paste, I'll fix.
Okay, I'll do it.
There you go. So, okay. Do we want to try and fill out?
We can just do like the next 5, right? Which is Falcons, Furia, Spirits. I don't know if it's 5. Maybe it's just Mouse, I guess, would always be there.
So I think here's the thing though, right? Like we might need Lucas to move a few around these categories around, right? Because in challenges, I think, I'd agree we'd put Falcons, Furia, Spirit. We lost a couple categories. We don't need those back, Lucas. Yeah. Put those in challenges, Lucas. Falcons down. Put Furia,
Mouse, and Spirit.
I hear Chad's slightly disagreeing with the Mouse. Even though you're not saying anything.
Apex rated them really highly, like when talking about them. So I think if he's concerned about them being a problem, then sure. I just think if they get to the final, they're not beating Vitality. Yeah. They might beat Vitality in the semi or the quarter.
Yeah, we've seen it before.
But I don't think they'll beat them in the final. So then we kind of need one just under challenges, right? Like, I think the next category I'd go for would be where you got VRS Hungary, Lucas. Move that down one.
What's with the...
He's adjusting shit.
Okay.
Make the one below challenges any given Sunday.
Okay.
I think in this category, this is where you have to put base.
Sure.
Or Navi.
They are the any given Sunday. Is it a hard day?
Are you feeling like a G2 Aurora? Not really.
G2, I don't know.
They've kind of any given Sunday
a little bit
already last year.
It's a good verb. I like it.
I think there has to be like another band under those 2 teams, right? Like that they are good.
What about PARIVISION?
Good. What about good but 3 dots?
Put PARIVISION in any given Sunday. Yeah, put PARIVISION in there.
High respect for Jame. Yeah, that's good.
Like, because they just did it on any given Sunday that was yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know.
Oh, they did it on a Sunday, indeed.
Yeah.
The chat is asking for happy to be here. That's a classic category for like the
That's
bottom.
kind of the VR's hungry, maybe. I
No,
feel like there's a lot of overlap there.
I think happy to be here is just like
Simple.
NRG.
Yeah, but I
But-
think it's because it was the top 24 based off of the invite day. I don't think anyone's happy to be here. I think everyone has some type of score to settle,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Like
like,
the bottom, if anything, all those ones that are at the bottom of that are super hungry to get something going so that they can stay there, you know. So I think that's why I said that there's a lot of overlap, I think, there.
Okay.
But we are missing kind of like a negative one somewhat.
yeah, we can get to that once we work out who we want to be negative about. I think in this next category for me, it would be like your G2s, your 3D Maxes.
Aurora,
Oh, we
for
didn't
sure.
put Mongols should be in any given
Ooh.
Sunday, shouldn't they? Or are we a bit critical because we haven't seen Cobra Zero play? 19 years of age.
I think that's fine.
Or we
I mean,
maybe
he is better than Controlies by everything we know, and everything we know is the HLTV rating, which is pretty good,
Yeah.
damn good.
So would you guys put like G2 3D Max,
Aurora.
like Aurora? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the next group.
Maybe
Yeah,
Legacy,
next one down
maybe
the list,
Legacy.
yeah. Put G2 there as well.
What is the name of that one?
It's still happy to be here at the moment, but it's not.
Maybe
not
this one is
accurate.
just good, but 3 dots.
Yeah.
It's very in the middle. It's not offensive, but it's not really.
Yeah.
Do we think Legacy belong in this conversation or no? Legacy Liquid. I don't know if you can call
I
Liquid good to be fair.
No,
think
Liquid is VRS hungry for sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
because they also
fair
have the NAF situation. They have Crimbo standing in,
yes.
so that's going to hit them pretty hard too.
Astralis, yeah, sure. Wait, let me see the
BCGame
ranking because I can't remember.
BCGame are very VRS hungry, right? They're going to fall out very
Extremely
quickly.
so. They already have fallen out. Like they really need this.
This is hugely. What are they outside? Like 30?
They're 28 now.
28. Okay, so yeah, FlyQuest to 27 now.
Yeah, big time VRS hungry.
Okay.
What do you think about Legacy?
I don't mind what you're saying. I'm just trying to remember their major, and it felt disappointing.
Yeah, it was because they went out in stage 1. They went out to PARIVISION actually.
Oh well, in the context of them losing to Bay and PARIVISION, it feels not so bad.
Yeah. It's also one tournament, right? And one where they probably overestimated their options, but they also haven't been doing that well locally. They lost the
Yeah, they came third or whatever.
tournament to to both Sharks and MIBR. So it's like the start has been a little bit iffy as well. But it's also local CS. Like it's always they keep beating each other in that region all the time. Like these top teams, like MIBR, Legacy, Fluxo. Sometimes they
Their
just keep
opening
taking
game
wins off
is
of each
against
other.
BCGame, and then they play the winner of Foot and 3D Max. I think both of those games are very winnable for Legacy.
Yeah.
Like it's not
Also very losable for Legacy.
Yes, yeah. But it's not like they're not up against opponents who I think I would just say, they're going to lose to those guys,
sure.
right? I don't know if they fall into the same category as a G2 and an Aurora for me, but they did end up winning that trophy, right? What event did they win?
JC?
Was it? Yeah, it was CAC, right? So I don't know. Maybe I'm underrating them.
I'm also iffy, but it's just because of the major, yeah.
Yeah. Where are they VRS wise?
They're
Because
13.
They're the
pretty good.
highest Americas after FURIA.
Okay, so they're fine. They're not VRS hungry. I don't know.
Not
I think we need
particularly.
another category. Just leave them at the bottom for now, Lucas. We'll see if anyone else can join the good butt conversation.
3D Max, we were saying.
Yeah, do they still fit
Yeah.
that bill for you guys, or are they starting to drop off now?
I think they're there. They're a top 10 classic team.
Yeah. I think they kind of fucked up. I think they just fucked up the late part of the year by the schedule, and I think they're still going to be pretty alright start of this year.
Okay. Yeah, well, that was the burnout conversation, right? I think they need to find their footing, like play style wise, to convince everybody a little bit more. So then you've got Bait, you've got Gamer Legion, right? So Bait with this new AWPer who we were just talking about, Gamer Legion with Snacks in the driver's seat, and they looked all right. So we definitely need another category.
What if we
Yeah,
have
sure.
a category Inshallah? Which means like there's
God
not
willing.
a lot of expectations, but if they do something, it's good.
Okay. All right.
Because like I feel like for BCGame and
off.
Liquid, it's 100% needed that they do something good here. And for some other teams like NIP or Heroic or whatever,
I mean, Bait is also like in a very safe position at the moment, so I think they definitely belong in like a whatever category.
Okay, so what you want to call it? Inshallah.
Yeah.
Okay, look.
You can also do like
on social media, Prof. I'm just gonna
Matata
say
or something.
Hakuna Matata is good.
Lucas, do you know how to spell that, or do you want me to Google it for you, man?
I feel like it's an international.
Just where do you want it?
The bottom one.
Apex uses it all the time.
Okay.
I feel like it's
not that
international
bad.
slang meme word now.
You mean this, right?
It's from
I can't see anything that you're
Did
No,
you
he
mean
wants
Hakuna Matata, or-
he wa- from Lion King.
No,
What?
I mean, Inshallah is fine.
Hold on, I'll find it for you, mate.
Inshallah is better.
Here you go, Lucas.
Give you want the kids friendly version.
Well, it's going to end up on socials, you know. I don't know what could happen. Okay, so
People
in
use
here,
Inshallah normally now.
Since the top category is top dog, the last one should be dog.
You bottom dog.
Bottom dog.
So
I think I think VR is hungry also. Just to add on to that conversation, I think Heroic and IP are probably both in there because they're kind of on the edge now.
okay, Heroic
Can you
and
extend
NIP.
it? Can you extend it to Lucas because we can't see the teams now?
We're making him do so much.
Thank you.
There you go.
Running
Yeah.
without
So
it.
Heroic and NIP in VRS Hungary. Can you move VRS Hungary
I mean,
down,
Heroic
Lucas?
have IEM Krakow, then have Cluj-Napoca, then EPL. And IP
Who is
only
it?
have EPL, Heroic.
So
I'm
maybe
talking.
Heroic should be Hakuna Matata. Just because
Yeah.
they also. But do we know that they're playing it with Alcaran?
That I don't know. They're listed on your website. With actually, let me check. I have access to the documentation.
There
That
you
will
go.
tell
There
me.
you go.
Give me 1 second.
Well, I'm not
Let
sure
me
if
go
they'll tell
into
you,
my
because
email.
he
Blink
might be- he
twice
might
on
still
your
be
right
sub.
eye if he's playing, and
I'll
3
just-
times on your left eye if he's not playing.
I mean, they
I
never
was
said that
just
they
gonna
wouldn't.
tell
So
you. Let me check here. I have to go through several documents. I have to go through
There
the
you go.
talent briefing document, and once I'm in the talent briefing document, then I need to find the general information document. Where the fuck is that? Where the fuck is it? I was looking at it just a moment ago,
yeah,
buddy.
because it wasn't like the same situation as Kyo because he was effectively turned back at the border, right?
What?
Kiyosuke?
Alcaran.
Oh yeah.
Because it wasn't like he didn't get a visa. He just was turned back for whatever reason. I don't remember the exact details.
I was just on this. Oh, here it is. Public. It's right there. It says public right in front of my face. Okay. Team information, team rosters, Heroic. Here we are. Youngster is listed. Alcaran is listed as a sub.
Ooh, Hakuna Matata for sure there.
Yeah, it was in the prison interview where he said we were on our way to boot camp and he basically just got blocked at the border. Very unfortunate. So it's very, yeah, it doesn't, not like one of those things that gets easily resolved sometimes.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, okay. So the thing is, they still played pretty well even with Youngster. I thought,
Fucking
and like,
Youngster hopping, man.
and Youngster was into it too. Like he's not like he's like dejected because he's been benched or anything.
Yeah.
He was still playing to play hard. So I thought it was pretty
he
good.
seems like a chill dude who will just enjoy his time there. So
The feet comment. Toes.
I'd put Gamer Legion in the Hakuna Matata category, I guess.
I guess so,
yeah. Yeah,
Bait,
yeah.
you said.
Bait for sure.
Yeah.
Well, do Gamer Legion need VRS? Where are they at the moment?
They're
They do, don't
14.
they?
They're not too bad.
They're not too bad. They're not in a terrible spot. I don't know. I think there has to be
Has to be
one last
Legacy as well.
category. There
Yeah,
has
has
to be
to
one.
be-
Oh, you want to put Legacy in there? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're chilling.
But now it's like Passion aren't bad. What if we just put low expectations? Is that
But aren't these the rest of these teams actually in need of VRS essentially? Because like
I mean, in some ways,
complexity, calling them fucking complexity. Passion UA, Pain, NRG are all like in the same area.
20, 21, 24, 23, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's not that many America spots going around, so that's a fair
MIBR
point.
is building up. Imperial is always dangerous, I guess. So
Passion play G2 in the opener, NRG play Bait in the opener, Pain play Astralis in the opener. Pain
Okay.
surely winning that. Who's the other
But the
team
new
we have here?
pain, have we seen them?
Foot.
Yeah, we did have. We have seen them.
I think Foot are pretty good. They just lack experience.
Foot are good. Foot are good. I think they are. I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how I would call it. It's not like a given Sunday, but it's like the tier below.
A little like breakout potential.
Yeah, that's like that's what I would. But they would be in their
potential.
own. They would be in their own little category.
Yeah.
Can you make a category for Foot, Lucas?
Just call it Foot. Just call it Foot.
I know we're making it hard, but
there's so many categories, guys.
Yeah, but that's the
Fine.
point, right? I think like tier lists are too reductive. We're trying to create a comprehensive one that kind of shows our feelings about a lot of these teams.
Let's just make
Where do you want
24
it? Where do you
categories
want
that like
I mean, the Foot needs to be on the bottom.
bats are good. No, Foot.
but then they're going to think that they're going to
No,
think
should
Prof
be-
the-
should
After good. After good butt.
Good butt, yeah. Good butt, and then
After
Foot,
good butt. Everybody likes a good butt.
The thing is, they lost online in the the Rio quals.
because they're a LAN team. Move on.
Okay.
Yes.
Uh,
That's what does it. Okay, whatever.
anyway, put them in there, Lucas, and then I'll get you to change the name to like
Breakout. I think breakout potential or whatever it is. It's
okay,
pretty good.
breakout potential. That's not bad. But then I don't want to be. I'm not trying to be mean to any of these teams here. I just have low expectations for Passion. Well, I definitely have low expectations for NRG.
I mean, do we have high expectations of BCGame? Like, I don't know, man.
That's true.
Yeah,
We
but
could
that's
put-
like that's a separate thing. Doesn't really
Sure.
their quality is not really
So we can just put all of them in Vera's Hungry because of what Prof said. I mean, that's kind of true.
Okay, yeah, put them
Yeah.
all in there then. That's fine, and it feels like we're being less mean, and now we can talk about the particulars. Okay.
I have one thing to mention. Very important. Stake promotion.
Yes.
Weekly reload from Stake and HLTV confirmed. Claim it via support. You can use code HLTV.org and you'll get $35 across 7 days after a minimum deposit of $20. This is for existing Stake users. Also in chat, there have been going some bonus codes also for users. One time use. It's kind of like in a question in a coded way. So if you figure it out, you can put it in your profile and it'll update.
Oh, hashtag ad. All right. Sweet. Let's round out this conversation about Krakow, shall we, gentlemen? So, with these matchups, Lucas, do you want to bring this up and let's go through these games because we were just putting teams in lists that are correlating categories based on, certain factors. Right now, what I think we do is we go through these games and we can give our thoughts on the matches and who's going to progress. So I'm going to start. Lucas can catch up whenever. Aurora versus Gamer Legion. I think that is a very tough game to call. I wasn't impressed with what I saw from Aurora in their online outing, but again, you have to factor in that it was online. But they did.
But they have new dirt still fly like crazy, so it's kind of tough.
Yes, but they will have had extra time to work with them and maybe iron out some kinks. Or do you think they're just going to continue to run what they were already running?
They haven't changed how they play for like a year now. So I don't know if
Okay,
they're gonna change a lot. to
that
be
low,
honest.
and they lost to Gamer Legion online as well. So
There you
like
go.
it's a matchup that we've already seen happen.
I
they
still have
didn't-
higher hopes for them than that. To be honest, I don't think that they're suddenly a shit team just because they play a certain style of CS. Like they still have the talent. They still have the individuals. Like they have better individuals than Gamer Legion do.
I don't have a
Is that a
strong
crazy
opinion.
thing to say? No, it's not, right?
No, it's not. Centaurus, top 20 player. Gamer Legion, 0 top 20 players.
There you go.
PR is the best player in the server, though.
Well, his PR is pretty good for sure.
Yeah, it is. Okay, let's do this. Who's going to win that opening game? Striker, Aurora, or Gamer Legion?
I think Striker is not playing that game. That's it. I'm done. I'm done.
I still pick Aurora, to be honest. I still have faith.
I would also.
Okay, I would have said Gamer Legion, but Aurora progressed there. Let's just go with that. Heroic versus PARIVISION.
Sorry.
PARIVISION, yeah. Especially with the stand-in situation.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. So heroic win that one. Liquid versus NIP. This is a tough one. These are all tough ones.
Wait, didn't we just see that, or am I crazy?
I think there's a couple of rematches.
It's a tough one.
They played in Bounty.
Yeah, there's a couple of rematches for sure.
They played in Bounty and it went to an overtime ancient decider.
What you just said and what you're saying the whole time about it being like top 24 teams, it only really clicked in my head now. I know this sounds very stupid, but it probably will be the same for the viewers when they actually tune into the tournament. Because when you look at this bracket, there is no like, this is easy. You know, you can't really see anything here where it's going to be, this team is just going to walk through.
Exactly.
This is obviously the plane, so the best teams are not here, which makes it even more. But it makes it more balanced, even because the top teams, if Vitality is here, of course they clean up, most of these teams, no problem. But the teams that you have here without the top 8, just like the 9 to 24, it's fucking very competitive.
Yeah,
it's extremely competitive.
Like if I'm looking at one game here that I think isn't going to be, it's like BCGame, right? That one there, I go, okay, like it's hard with all of these matches. Foot could get run over by 3D Max's aggression, them disrespecting them on LAN and going, okay, well, you guys are young.
But they played like 3 times in China and then like Bucharest recently, so they're familiar with each other.
Well versed. Astralis versus Pain, like these are two teams who are on rebuilds this season, right? Obviously, Astralis have moved away from the Danes, but Pain bringing, what is it, Piara Junior and VSM. So like they're two teams who are trying to build back up to something. So there's not a single game here that is easy to call. I think that it's really tough. Every match is relatively close. NRG versus Bait. Like I would want to go with Bait, but the fact that they're bringing in a player in a key position like an Orpa who's 16 years of age and he's never played any matches before of this type of caliber versus like your Nitros of the world. So okay, things get a little bit more difficult now. It's not as easy to call. Every game here is relatively tough. I don't think there's a clear prediction that you're able to make, and I'm hoping that the quality of Counter-Strike we get is of a decent level, because for a lot of these teams, and this is why when we're doing the tier list, I think it's quite important, right? With the tier list, when you're looking at it and we're ranking all these teams, everyone is coming into this with something to gain, right? No one here is, if you're one of the best teams, you want to win because you want to set the tone early. If you're one of these teams who are, like we said, VRS hungry, you need the wins here to put yourself in good major contention, because essentially it's this event for the teams who are the outlier teams. That's from 17 to 24. After that, Cluj is only a 16-team event. Liquid are going to be kicking themselves that they're not attending that now that NAF isn't here, right? He has a personal reason he can't be at this event. But they're not at Cluj. They declined Cluj alongside of Spirit. Then after that, they've got EPL, which is mainly online. And then that means you have to make it to top 8 before you can make really any headway. And then after that, it's Rotterdam, where only 12 teams are invited by VRS Global. And the other 4 are through qualifiers. So your opportunities to get VRS points to be in a strong position for the major, for the teams who are on from 17 to 24, it's right here, right now. So the level of importance for this is fucking huge. And the matches are close. And there's a bunch of teams we haven't seen play any games or officials this season because they like your Mausers or your Mongols, your G2s, right? So this is bonkers, mate. It's kind of wild.
Who knew IEM Katowice / Krakow is a good tournament?
Well, like I also was taking a look at some stuff with Katowice, and for the last like couple of years, the team that's won it have gone on to have a pretty good year. Right, like last year, obviously it was Vitality. They set the bar extremely high. They're alongside like Astralis when they won it in 2019, right? But you go back to 2024, that's Donk's breakout event, Spirit, and then Spirit go on to win Shanghai Major to close out the year. 2023, it's when G2 win it, and then G2 go on later in the year to win Cologne as well, right? Obviously, they didn't win a major within that year, but 2 big trophies, and I think they won more than that as well, right? Didn't they? They won like a World Finals or something like that. Yeah,
I think maybe one more. I don't know.
2022 was FaZe, and then FaZe in that same year won. Was it FaZe? It was, because they had JKS standing in. But in that year, they went on to win Antwerp, right? They won their first major in 2022 after winning Katowice at the start of the year.
Slam.
Yeah.
That was a bit later, but still.
And then obviously 21 was online. When we don't talk about that.
But that was the rise of Gambit.
Yeah. 2020 was Navi
team of the year, I think.
Yep. And then you go 2019 was Astralis. So Katowice
2020 was very split between like 3 teams in terms of team of the year, you're thinking of 21.
Yeah.
Navi wasn't like was good in 2020, just not just like in the pack of like Astralis and
I think
whatever.
that split up as well, didn't they, with some of the tournaments? Like we just had regional based tournaments, and Navi were playing in the CIS stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Like I wrote the notes that I wrote down for these teams was Liquid without NAF, Bait with New Orpa, Energy lost to M80 at Flom LAN Grand Final, Legacy third at Brazilian LAN losing to Sharks, and MIBR with LNZ skipped Bounty. G2 no officials skipped Bounty. Gamer Legion Heroic, Bounty LAN. These are these are my notes, guys. Aurora, NIP, Passion, Astralis, Pain, 3D Max, Foot. I just put them all together. Don't know why. I just did. I guess they're all for me in the same spot. And then BCGame lose online. That's like.
Did we watch the BCGame game?
I think I watched their first loss. I didn't watch their second loss.
Okay. It just kind of looks like they have had 0 time together.
Kind of true.
Yeah, kind of very true. I don't know, but with it's hard to see how the team works. How does it work? How does it function? Like, you know.
Well, we'll see soon.
We'll find out.
Yeah,
but it's a rough bunch of teams there. Legacy, Foot, 3D Max. All of these teams didn't make any changes from last year, and they are like playing CAC Bucharest into the major. Like they all have a lot of reps. So many more reps than BCGame. So it's gonna be, I think it's a huge challenge for them to get anything out of that area.
Yeah. It's
gonna be a good event.
I think that's the sentiment. I think that's the sentiment right there, Prof. I think that's where we have to leave it, isn't it? Right? Yeah. It's a stacked event. It's got all the top teams. It's a bunch of teams that we haven't seen play officials yet. I'm really keen. Maybe we'll be able to do an episode before not before the next stage. So like, I'm really excited to see Mongols with Cobra Zero. I want to know what's going on with Maus, because this is what I think Maus have done. I think Maus have just like, they've come into this new year and they've just like locked everybody in a room and they said, listen, boys, I'm fed up. And I don't know who's saying this. Maybe it's Sabrina. She said, I'm fed up of everyone saying that we're auraless fucks. They know we're a good Counter-Strike team. We get close. We haven't been able to win the big trophy, sure. But not everybody can win. But we're a damn good Counter-Strike team. And right now, we're going to put on some fucking leather biker jackets. We're going to be the coolest dudes. And we're going to stay in this room. We're going to fucking beat each other up. We're going to play so much Counter-Strike. We're just going to be going hard in the trenches right now because we're going to come out. We're going to prove all these motherfuckers, especially these dumb that HLTV confirmed wrong, for saying we've got no aura, we're never going to win, nothing's ever going to happen. Let's get in this lab. Sure, Jimmy, you wanted to leave and go to Falcons. It didn't happen, mate. You stuck with us. Let's fucking do it. We were so close last year. Let's work it out. Let's show that we're actually a good team, and let's actually win a proper event. That's what I reckon they've done. They're not on social media. No one's tweeting. No one's saying anything.
See the boxing? They went boxing.
Who was boxing?
Corgi.
Who? I didn't see that.
That was like 10 days ago.
No? The whole team, I think.
Then they did. They're getting some attitude. Whose idea was that? That's fucking great. Get the boys some attitude. Get him in a Muay Thai. Get him in the ring with John Jones. Forget John Bones Jones. I'm fucking it all up. Get him in there. Get him some attitude. Get him smoking.
Motorcycle.
I was about to say get these kids some cigarettes, and I'm like, I can't say that. I can't say that.
They're all 18 plus, so they can do that.
Get him some attitude. Go out and get some tattoos, right? Let's get some attitude, boys.
Just imagine Balls rocking up to their first tournament in like fucking whatever hipster gear and whatever everything.
Everyone shaves their head.
That was not the word.
Everyone shaves their head. They're wearing leather pants. They're all riding Harley Davidsons. Smoking cigarettes.
You don't have to be a skinhead to be a.
But
biker
why not? It's a bonding experience.
Biker, some fucking mice from Mars. That's it. We're back at that.
They've got to do something, you know. That's it. But anyway, genuinely, they've been so quiet. I want to see what's cooking there. I want to see if FaZe can actually do anything like they did at the major. I just watched that little. No, it's not little. It's like an hour and a half. That video they put out from their major run on the plane
as well.
Yeah,
Mouse did as well. They just put
like
out a vlog.
Like yesterday, today, or something.
I think I missed the Mouse one. Yikes.
Yeah, been a good show.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right, everybody. Katowice is done. Krakow is now. We're in the Toron arena. It's a bigger arena. Hopefully things are good. We've got all the good
center
teams.
Stage or normal stage?
I think it's normal stage. Don't think it's center stage. I don't actually know, but I think it's normal stage. All
I'd
right.
be surprised if they did center stage in a arena that big,
I mean,
where you can use part of it, to cut off some seats.
I mean, it was in 2017, but I guess.
Yeah,
different.
it was. It was in 2017.
True.
Yeah, I casted the show match with Fifi.
Good
On
times.
birthday. All right,
Good
let's get
times.
out of here, guys. This has been HLTV Confirmed. We've done another episode. We're going old school now. We're running over the 2-hour mark again. I've kind of started to fuck up. All right. Anything anyone wants to say? Everyone going to hold their peace right now?
No, thank you. Thank you for coming.
Okay.
Never
Thank you
mind.
for.
I was gonna say I've been holding. I can't say it.
No, it's good.
You know what I meant. I fucked it up already. I shouldn't say anything.
The end of the show has become a little bit deranged. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of HLTV Confirmed, brought to you by Steak. We'll be back at some point throughout Krakow to bring another episode, likely in the off days before the playoffs. But we'll work that out. Hope everyone enjoys the event kicking off in a couple days' time, and we'll see who the best team at the moment is. All right. Peace out. Goodbye. See everyone next time.